What's going on, people? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Hope you're all well. Welcome to another edition of the Late Late Show on We Are Tottenham TV, hosted by myself, Brian from Tottenham on Tour. And in the absence of the other B, I've roped in the other B, my brother, my Canadian brother, Bobby K from the Three Spurs Boys. Bobby K, my man, how are you?
I'm very well, very well. Mixed emotions here, Brian. Mixed emotions. I'm always happy to see you. Good evening to everybody in the chat. Happy Friday night. But, mixed emotions because what a shit game. And I was almost about to break the 10-minute rule.
Mate,
So,
listen, I'm gonna be trying my hardest. Listen, it's been, listen, someone tweeted me or someone put, um, in a tweet or something I saw on social media said, you know what, the Premier League, how boring would it be without Tottenham Hotspur? Because literally the drama, whether it's on the pitch, off the pitch, our fan base, the injuries, the ongoings, there is never ever a dull moment when supporting Tottenham Hotspur, is there?
yeah, it's a hell of a roller coaster ride, buddy. We've been on that roller coaster for a long time. Even the new fans that have been on, I don't know, if that short-term suffering outweighs the long-term suffering, but regardless, it's definitely been interesting. It's so crazy the way they can get your emotions so high and everything, and how you get hyped up when they play well and they're doing well and everything, and then they can just let you down just like that and everything, and take everything almost away from you. And it's at some points with our fan base, though, I think we went a little bit too far, though, Brian. There's some that have imploded to the point where it's almost destruction on the club. Conte has to go, and it's there's some extremes kind of thing that I personally, how I feel. I'm never
Yep.
to one extreme or the other kind of thing. I'm more of the happy clapper, sad kind of delusional dude, but it is what it is. We are what we are. I think don't fall off that wagon this quickly. I mean, we're still early in the season, but we are right to get pissed off at this point, because even I'm pissed off. And you know me, Brian, I don't get pissed off.
No,
I'm
neither do
always
I.
like, no, it's okay,
Neither do I.
Brian. It's all right, buddy. We'll get him next time, Brian.
I
It's
I I I
bullshit, right?
I don't, but I don't understand where people get. I get pissed off. I think I'm very easily misunderstood. I don't get pissed off.
No.
That would be an understatement. So today, yeah, big time, big time. So we're going to try and get a lot of participation with you guys in the chat tonight. We've got a few topics we're going to talk about. Just to let people know, the link, as always, will be in the community sections for members at past. So in 30, I can't even my eyes, 34 minutes, they will be there. But before we do that, and before we get into this, let's just say hello to a few people that are in the chat. And I'm going to bring up one from every person that I see right now. So first of all, we have the Assassinator, who says, going to have to join the crew a bit later tonight. Maybe one of the last corners, but we'll try to come on and keep that 100% record. So as we know, it is between him and KPV for the 100% record of every single time. So there's a lot at stake, Assassination. We look to see you. Looking forward to seeing you.
There we go.
Then we've got Carl
There they are,
Vinyard,
both
who
of them
says,
right there.
finally, the Late Late Show is back, and we apologise for last week. There's just been a lot going on. And finally, The Rock has come back home. Now, people, I have to mention this because, Bobby, you got... I am so pissed off.
Right
so
away,
pissed off.
KPV starting shit.
I don't.
Oh, you dirty
Not a lot of
man.
people. Actually, I think a lot of people will know. I have a huge obsession over Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Like huge. Like literally. I my dream is to meet him. I wear his Under Armour trainers. I had his his face mask for during. I've got his clothing. I know most of his wrestling promos off by heart. I know I've got all of his DVD. Anyway.
It's enough, Brian. Stop.
Anyway, last week.
That's good.
Sorry,
They get
last
the
night.
picture.
Last night I was just sitting at home with Alana and my wife, and she goes, "Oh, do you know The Rock was at the Maple Leafs game?" I went, "I beg your pardon." And she was like, "Yeah, he was at the opening night of Maple Leafs, and that was the night that we were at home. No, we were away to. Oh, sorry, no, home to Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, for people that don't know where in Toronto or Toronto well, where we drink in the Scotland Yard pub, I would say it's less than a 10-minute walk to the stadium where the Maple Leafs play. and he was right there. And I checked it. He was there. He came, and I can't believe I was that close to him. I've been that close to him in England. I missed him by a day. He went to a gym when he was filming Fast Five, and he was a gym around the corner. I ran round to that gym, and he left the day before. When I saw that, I was sending people messages. I was absolutely raging that I blew another opportunity to see Dwayne the Rock Johnson. So that just reminded me.
Sorry.
Scorpions for Life is in the building. Big up, great support of all the channels, as is a lot of people. DJ Green Alert, who I see a lot now, who I saw starting on the Late Late Show, and I always love his comments. It is great to see you. Who else have we got in the building? Earth the Spurs, all the way in Korea. Big up, Gabby. Pierogi, who is everywhere. We have got
big up.
Tottenham Hotspur, Tottenham Hotspur FC News. Good evening. We have
Good evening.
Coronavirus. Good evening, guys. Hope we're doing well. We are doing well. We have Roy Park.
Big up, Roy.
Big up, fellas. Brian and Bobby Kate. Big up. We have Chris Organ. Can't make my mind up in regards to how we're going to do this season. I'm completely torn. What do y'all think? We're going to be we are going to be talking about this
that.
quite a lot, Chris, and bring the comments in.
Just a bit.
We have got my brother, a very, very good friend of mine, Mr. Aaron Dubbs, in the building. Hi, coming you Spurs. Who else have we got?
Hello, Aaron.
Another great support. Reloaded. Hello, fifth, sixth, no trophies. I'd like to see what everyone says. A very, very good friend and dear friend of mine, Graham, is in the building. Big up, Graham. I hope you're feeling better. Anthony Gray, I haven't seen you for ages, man. I hope you are well. Good evening, gents. Hard to accept, Man U. Yep, we're going to be talking about that and Newcastle. Another person who's always about, Paul Brown. Big up. Anonymous. What a name! I love it. I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be. What's it called? When they get you to say a name that you shouldn't do. But yes, hello to you. Hello to you. And I know that's in a movie somewhere. I just can't remember. George Coy's big up.
Big up, George.
Who else is in here that I haven't said hello to? Moldy Pickle, one of the best names ever. Good evening, lads. We've got Lee Hills. What's going on, boys? Come on, you Spurs. We've got Drew. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you are. Benjamin Parsons. Hi, lads. Love the content. Big up. We've got Moondog. Big up, lads.
Big up, Moondog.
God, there's a lot of people already, up to 91 people.
Nice.
Jeremy Reed. Hi, Brian. Let's hope we are not so. Oh, mate, Jeremy, I was meant to get back to you. I've been talking to him after my video. He's been sending me some funny stuff while we were having a. Jeremy, I will be responding to that long message, my friend. We have Nick in the building. We have Westlife. I was waiting for this show. Well, we're not going to disappoint. We have Bill. Big up, fellas. We have N4. What's up? Good evening. We have TTF. Morning, lads. We have every single day is Enoch and Levy out day. I'm waiting to see Lee Richards with his reporting for duty. Marios from Cyprus. Hello, my man. I love it. I think he was on that last time we were on.
Yes,
I think it's
he was. Yeah, same one.
We've got Baz G. We have got, and then the last person is Zetos. Morning from Toronto. Evening from Toronto, my friend. Evening. I don't know what part. I know Toronto is big, but it's 8:11 in the evening here.
Yeah, it's 8:11 for me too.
Right. Let's get into this. And the first topic I've got for you, Bobby, and I had to name this list. I can't believe people haven't used this name already. Let's discuss what happened at the Theatre of Nightmares. Let's discuss, people and a lot of people that are here. And I've just got to say hello there. Says hello there from New Zealand. So hello, New Zealand, and everywhere you are in the world. But Bobby, listen, I've spoken to you since that. I speak to you every single day, and I've spoken to you about the Theatre of Nightmares. What was your now we're talking about it, and it's a few days gone. What's your overall thoughts? And now the dust has settled, so to speak. How are you feeling about what we had to endure?
We're well past 10 minutes now. We're good. Okay.
Yep.
The easiest way to start, Brian, is what the fuck, man. I beyond painful. Painful is an understatement. Gutless, spineless, fucking just absolutely horrible. Zero effort. It is zero is a high score in terms if I was to give overall effort. when we're looking at Lloris, a lot of people still disputed this. I don't know why, but I think Lloris saved our asses from it being 6 or 7-0. Like, fuck me. What a disgusting display of football. The way they were so easily cutting us up in the middle. But did you see Bruno Fernandez's stats? His stats from that game, all the passing, the touches, the completed passes, all this shit, the forward passing, all that statistical crap that I don't know anything about. But there was a column, and it was compared to all the other games that he started in. And pretty much the stats from all those games combined went into this one game for what he accomplished.
Yep.
And we made him look like, God, world class. It was pathetic the way we absolutely just let them have everything. Everything. We didn't fight them on anything. I don't understand why we expect Kane to play from where he was playing and score goals. I don't see how it's possible. He just doesn't have the pace. I love the guy to bits, but if we're going to expect him to play that quick ball out from that almost central forward role kind of thing versus striker role, then and he's supposed to ping it out to Son and whoever's running up the right, then it's not working. Teams have figured that out because that's all we're doing. And the bigger teams, it's not working against. So it's what do you do, Brian? What the fuck do you do? And I know this is where you're going to give me the answer, because it comes down to one big fucking thing. And my man Brian, tell me what it is, please.
No, do you know what it is? Is I said to myself, I'm going to try today, because today's been a hell of a day, with lots of stuff, and I'm trying my hardest not to do what I do. Leave it. I think now I sit back and I reflect on this, and I'm going to try and stay away from that. Listen, if it comes up with the guests that come on, or it comes up in the chat and a super chat comes in, or we start taking some questions and my thoughts or anything about the board come up, I'm going to talk about it. But we need to talk about this game now. One of the main things for me is, and it was really, I don't know how to word this to make it come across the way I mean it to, so I'm going to try my best. I started getting annoyed with a lot of the praise that Hugo Lloris was getting, and people giving him 9s and 10s.
From this game,
giving him 9s and 10s. Listen, he made some wonderful saves. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That's his job.
Yeah.
His job is to stop the ball going in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It went in twice.
One was a deflection. I'll give him a 7.5, 8 on his game.
One was a deflection. One was a deflection. Again, and I don't know if it's just me. I know you watch games with me regularly, Bobby, at the Scotland Yard. You know what it's like when he has the ball at his feet and we're playing short.
God!
And yeah. again, he keeps doing this, and people can say to me that managers are telling him to do this, and I don't believe it, because managers know that he can't do it. If you look at Manchester United when they lost to Brentford, De Gea was at fault for playing from the back, and then Erik ten Hag said, "This don't work. Boot it. Just get it. Stop it. If you have to occasionally do it, I understand, but this guy just completely keeps doing it, and we don't have the defenders to do this. And don't get me wrong, his shot stopping is still second to none. But football has evolved now, and when we signed him, the goalkeeper of the era that we signed him was what we called a sweeper keeper. Was those keepers that came off the line quickly and cut the ball out, and he was immense at that. He was in his own. He was in his own element. He was outstanding. Now the art of goalkeeping has evolved, and it's playing out from the back, and he cannot do it. And not only can he not do it, when we pass it to Dyer or Davies or Emerson or Doherty, or we don't have the players that can handle it. Listen, he's a wonderful shot stopper, and without doubt, he is the greatest goalkeeper I've seen in my Spurs lifetime. I caught when I started watching Tottenham properly, it was the tail end of Clements, who would be the next person in line. So I can't really say I saw Clemens in his prime. God bless him. But it's come to that point now where this has become an issue. Then you look at Romero. Romero for me has been woeful this season, and he's been woeful since he's come back from his injury. There are people saying he's been woeful since he signed his contract. But he's been woeful, and
That's arguable. Yeah.
he's been rushed back from injury, and he's having to do this. Then you look at that midfield. I mean, We Are Tottenham TV. I don't know if people in the chat saw this video that they played yesterday. They put on this morning, showing the build up to Fred's deflected goal. The midfield was nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen.
Everybody was just backing off.
And I was speaking to Ben today, and I said, Ben, I actually think you were generous in giving 4s and 3s to these people.
Yeah.
It was
even Ali Gold posted something that gave like 4s and 5s, and I was like, "You're being really freaking nice here, man."
It was an absolutely horrible performance. And you know what? There's one that come up, and Cranford has just put it. Yes, boot it up the pitch, because all we do is turn the ball over in our position. So, and you know what? One thing I will say, Cranford, is
yep, there you go.
When Lloris actually boots the ball using his hands and launches it, his distribution is actually very good. He's actually really good at it. But for some reason, and you would have thought at the World Cup, when he got caught out, that this would have done it for him, and he would have learned on the biggest stage, you're getting caught out. But then what we need to do is we need to look at obviously Conte. These formations, these late substitutions, and do you know what I said? And I said I wasn't going to bring this guy up, but there's no way.
Are we allowed to, though, Brian? Are we allowed to question Conte?
I know this is the thing. You're not allowed to, but no. When I said I wasn't going to bring him up, this is the one leaving thing I'm going to say. When we hired Conte, I was delighted. I was, like we all were, but one of the main reasons I was delighted was this is the manager that is going to call him out. This is the manager that is going to strike fear into him. This is the manager where it's all going to come out. He's either backed and we do well, and you know what? The Antonio Conte that you saw at Inter Milan shouting and screaming, "Don't sell my players, don't sell my players," and walking out, I don't know where he's gone. I think Antonio Conte has been levied. Since, and the reason I say that is after the Burnley game when we lost last season, and he went absolutely mad on an interview. He's been embargoed since. Oh, sorry, he's been what's it called? Is it embargoed or whatever? He's been shut up, and he can't go mad in his interviews like he did. And I'm just getting very, very concerned. Listen, there's still a long way to go. There's still a long way to go. But that is what I thought of this game. And this game, I mean, I know the first guest that we will be bringing on is Ryan Isaacs Kennard, and he was at the game. He was at the game.
Wow.
And the thing I need to say about it as well, and
sorry, just quickly for those that don't know, that's Manchester. You went all the way to, so that is not a drive down the road.
But the thing
I'm
is,
sure Ryan will explain it all.
The thing we've got to look at it as well is, once again, and I've been very vocal about this, as is everyone, and I'm not just saying it's about YouTubers. It's been on Twitter. It's been on all you guys in the chat have spoken about it. People like Ryan and season ticket holders, and like Graham, who's in the chat, have spent hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands, and depending on people like Graham, who've been a season ticket holder for over 40 years, hundreds of thousands of pounds, traveling the length and breadth of this country and Europe and pre-season, wherever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of passion, commitment, dedication, fight, and all the other words you want to use along that kind of genre, to see the club put in a performance like that. To put in a performance like that I could have picked out, or you, Bobby, or anyone in the chat could have gone like this at the away stand and said stop, and picked 11 people, and they would have gone on the pitch and given more passion and given a better account for themselves than what we saw. What's your thoughts on that, Bobby?
My thoughts is This performance scared the shit out of me for one really, 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 really big reason. And you know what that is, Brian? Today, thanks to that lovely man named Patty, I got my ticket confirmed, paid for it. So I've got my seats. The boys got our seats for the game that we're coming to in January. Now, I am flying from Canada to England to pay to go just to a Tottenham game with my kids for my son's birthday and make it just an epic birthday for all of us to remember. And it gives me an excuse to finally get to a game in Tottenham in all my years of being a fan. So, could you imagine, Brian, if this happens when we come to that game? Could you imagine if we're subjected to something like this? I feel just because on that point, I feel for every fan that traveled to this game, and we have friends that we know that traveled to this game
Yep.
and went through hardships and stuff and put out money, and holy shit. Oh my God. We're vexed sitting over here watching it through our TVs and everything, wherever we are in the world, whatnot. But could you imagine these people that went there and had to see this and consume that from their fans as well and hear that from their fans? But listen, Brian, we're way behind here on the comments, bro. You want to just do a quick
I mean,
skip
with the
through, man,
comments,
and get wrapped up?
with the comments, like I said, I'm gonna bring them up as much as I can, even when we're chatting. I just want to
Oh,
say,
okay.
I want to say to Hammerman TV, when you say 5,137 days since Spurs won a trophy, well, all I can say is, first of all, thank you for coming in and supporting the channel.
Big up, buddy.
You being there, and also I
Hit
would
a
like
like.
to say, not even hit a like. You want to say that? Fair play, we deserve it right now. But all I will say is, it's been even longer for you. So it's very good that you've got the maths to say 5,137. I actually believe it's more days, but thanks for coming out and pointing that out, just so I can say to you, you've had to wait even longer. So thanks for coming on and mentioning that. Please like and subscribe
Appreciate it,
to
bro.
Tottenham on
And three
We Are
Spurs
Tottenham
boys.
TV and the Three Spurs Boys and Tottenham on
Appreciate
Tour.
it. Thank
But
you.
one thing I do want to do before we go on to the next topic is we had a super chat come in. So I want to address that, and it's from
Yes,
Phil's
definitely,
123
definitely.
Coys.
Big up, fellow.
Big up, big supporter of channels.
Yes, he
How
is.
patient do you think Conte is? Could he walk? Bobby, you go first, my friend.
Well, that's wow, fellow man, shit. You ask a heavy question there because it's one of those. If I say yes, it's negative kind of thing. But in reality, could he walk? Could he? Yeah, of course he could. He could walk away. Will he walk? I don't think so. I don't think he's the kind of guy to walk. But like you already said, Brian, I'm really terrified that he's been levied. Like you said, is it possible that he's fallen into all the old traps that we have? But I, I really don't. I hope he doesn't, because where do we go? How many times are we going to keep changing managers and systems and everything? Are we going to, if we do, God forbid, get rid of Conte, then scrap it all. Scrap it and start from the foundation, man. Build the system from frigging youth system up or something. I don't know what to do then at that point, because it's
this is the point. If how patient is he? I think he's very patient. I really do.
I
But
think he's a fighter, yeah.
but the thing is, obviously, we have to wait and see if this contract gets signed. If this contract gets signed and he's promised stuff and he doesn't get it, he will walk. He will walk. He will say, "I don't need the money," like he did at Inter. He'll forget the payout. He will walk. If he gets what he needs, and this window, and we say this every single window, this is the window where it's got to be done. This is where when Conte has his meeting with Paratici and says, "These are my column A players that are must. These are my column B that are if you can't. These are column C, D, B, whatever. And I want three of them. At least two of them have to be from column A. At least, if not all of them, because we can see what we have to say about this. And yes, he could walk, but I'm going to bring up here DJ Green alert. Would Google be interested in buying the club and not just the ground now?
Oh God, I hope so.
So again, I said when things come up like this, I will interact and I will talk. So people remember I went on a lot of channels and I tweeted the second Google came about, and I said to people, don't get your hopes up. Last time we had a big name in right, and we were told Amazon were in the fight for us, and we were in advanced stages with them. It was all big talk across YouTube channels and TalkSport and Sky Sports and yada 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 for a week. Went quiet, and then we were made fools out of because we announced Dulux Paint as our official paint sponsor. So I said, watch it, watch it. And people that know me will know that I'm normally right on these things. So it's been gone a week. It's been gone a week. Google's gone quiet. And yesterday, the football club greatly and delightfully announced that we've extended our contract with Molton Brown to be the official toiletry company of Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes, big
So,
up, Molten Brown.
so,
Big
so,
up.
so listen, Google coming in for the club, whether it be naming rights or buying it, it will be the most incredible deal. It will be absolutely phenomenal to get them in, and a deal well done. And credit will be, yes, it's taken a time, but to reel them in, credit will be due. But once again, I just see this being hot air, and we'll see. But we're going to move on to the next topic now.
Well,
And it's,
Brian. Well, there's one quick thing. Sorry, I just want
well,
to address that
you
on
can
too,
go.
because there's also the thing that he's also said it's going to take 3 or 4 transfer windows. So maybe he knows it's the patience is required in him as well to get it done in that time. So maybe he will give it at least that much time. So just for that, I'll say no. He's not going to walk. He will hopefully at least see it out to that point. But if Levy consistently shows him that he's not going to be backed in those transfer windows, or the board just gets it wrong. I don't even know if it's Levy. I don't even know at this point who's getting it wrong, because our recruitment has been wrong too.
Yeah.
It's just who's getting it wrong at this point. But if within a few transfer windows they don't figure out who's getting it wrong, then he's gone. And I don't blame him at that point. And then honestly, I think there's going to be a seriously bad ripple effect to that with Kane and Son and everything. But you know me, buddy. I just, that's worst case scenario. So obviously, I hope that doesn't happen at all. I really hope we got a couple of months to hold on here and get to January and get through the World Cup, hopefully unscathed with our team, and our players get through it safely and are ready to kick off there again and go in the new year and everything, and we get some support for them. It's hope and pray, brother, like we have for a long time.
That's all we can do. So very quickly, I've got to keep checking YouTube over here, because we've had a members chat from Luke Kingston, who is a silver member for 15 months. Big up, Luke, and thank you for supporting the boys. And he said, it's our passing that's awful. Do we not practice? I couldn't agree more. And Bobby, do you remember what I was saying? Do you remember what I was saying on Ben Kaufman's stream earlier on today? And this is, do you know what? And I hold myself accountable for this as well. Harry Winks. Okay. I'm in a group where I've got a personal friend of Harry Winks in that group. And we've been speaking about him before he left, and I was hearing bits of transfer rumors, whatever. But obviously, Harry Winks has been labelled, whether you like it or not good enough, crap, backwards, sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards, sideways. That's all he does. He's not in the squad. He's not in the country. And yet, our football at the moment is backwards, sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards, sideways, backwards, sideways. So I understand. Listen, I understand why Harry Winks. Listen, Harry Winks is born and bred Tottenham. I'm not jumping on that. I love Harry Winks. I want him out of the club. Harry Winks supports this club and loves this club. Harry Winks, when he came into the club before he got his horrible injury, was a good player. He weren't the same again. Harry Winks, with the elevation of Tottenham under Pochettino, and the way we've been going forward, his ceiling is there. Tottenham Hotspur's ceiling is there. This is not Harry Winks' fault. The fee we had for him. So when we talk about this passing and the guy celebrating his celebrating his anniversary, who left the chat. I think it's Luke. His name was. Yeah, Luke. He's right. Our passing is an issue, but we've got to look at this. And when we say these things about Harry Winks, just because he's one of those players that, like an Emerson, like a Dyer or a Davies, that's the one that gets the slander and gets the abuse and gets the he's not good enough. We can't keep saying, "Oh, Harry Winks, all we do is backwards, sideways, because we're doing that without him.
Yeah, fair enough.
We're doing that without him. And do you know what? We got another super chat in, and do you know what? I've never seen a better time super chat than this one.
Yeah. This is.
Because NX
Was it next as well?
literally the banner I had next, and I was going to go to before I saw Luke's member
Brilliant,
chat.
Ed. Buy
I don't
lottery
think
ticket, Ed.
Luke. It's sorry, Ed. It's like you read my mind. We're going to talk about this. Kulusevski.
Buy a lottery ticket, Ed.
Slash medical team. Now, obviously, the way I'm looking at this, we'll talk about Kulusevski first, and then obviously we'll do what Ed wanted, and what I think we need to speak about, which is the medical team. So obviously Kulusevski, we're now finding out from rumours, and Ryan, shake your head because I know you can hear me. I believe what we're hearing is he's out until the World Cup. Is that right? Yeah, but he's nodding his head. So this is what we're lately hearing, and once again, this injury unfortunately started to remind me of Ollie Skip, where he was out for a couple of weeks. No, he's out for a little bit longer. No, he's going to be out for a couple of months. No, he's out for the season. Kulusevski had a hamstring. He was coming back. He picked it up again, and they said it was a slight knock just for precautions. He should be back ready for Everton. And now we're hearing he's not back to the World Cup. And of course, with this great window, when we had Kulusevski at the right, we had Richarlison, who is a player that plays on the left or the centre, to play on the right. Now he's injured. We have Lucas Moura, who is not good enough, and that's why we bought upgrades. He's just coming back from injury. He's not good enough. This is starting to be a problem, isn't it, Bobby?
Oh, settle down. What about Brian Hill?
Brian Hill's. Oh yeah, no, but he's not injured. Or Brian, yeah. Okay, so if you want to talk about a great
he's
window,
available. I thought you just. Oh, I thought you were.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. You're right in what you're saying as well. He's not good enough. But yeah, what's your, before we get onto the medical team, what's your take on what's happening with Kulusevski and how vital he is?
We've seen it, Brian. Look at the way we play. Look how ineffective we are in pretty much every system. We all screamed. What's painful about this is we all screamed for the 3-5-2 or the 5-3-2, whichever way you want to put it. And look what happened with it. Holy shit. That was fucking brutal. Brutal, bro. Unbelievably bad. Again, that's complimenting it, but it seems that he is almost become so integral. Am I saying it right? Anyways, you know what I mean, people. He's so important on that side, and the way he makes us all combine. That we definitely know we need him. We absolutely 100% need him, and we are fucked without him right now.
Yep, I mean, this is for me, when we talk about Kulusevski, he is for me to play 3-4-3, he is integral. He is absolutely vital. For me, if we play 3-4-3, he is the very first name on the team sheet. For me, that 3-4-3 does not work. We've seen we are lacking creativity.
Yep.
We are lacking any kind of crossing ability.
Everything.
Yep. And who would have thought at 22 years old, less than a year, that this is happening, and this is a big problem. This is a big problem, and hopefully,
Juventus reject, right? It's all right.
Yep, it's a Juventus, but this is the thing. This has become it now. Now, we'll get onto more of the medical team now. Like Ed was saying, for me, I don't understand, and it may be going on behind the scenes. I don't know, and if anyone in the chat knows anything regarding how medical teams work in sport in general, I should actually reach my mate who's doing stuff at Port Vale. If you were owner of a football club or not even the owner, the manager. Let's go there. Or Paratici. I would have an inquest immediately, or a review, like when you bring in like when you bring the administrators in for financial purposes. I don't know how someone hasn't brought in to evaluate what is going on with the medical team, or why is this happening, or why players are being rushed back from injuries and picking up injuries. That's a common practice in football, in sport in general. But this is happening a lot more than should be happening. Probably let's rephrase that. Obviously, you being over here, you know the American and North American sports, and a lot of them are more brutal, especially hockey, whatever. How are the medical team evaluated, and how are medical teams generally looked at over here?
Brian, and most of the time, if you're going to address it towards other sports, the things I've seen in hockey, generally what the team predicts is what ends up being the timeline in terms of return. It's not like it's what this is, where it's a guessing game. What bothers me bigger than even trying to compare them just getting the timelines right is that we just put together this $1 billion stadium, these training facilities, world class, the best of everything.
Yep.
So we must, by just simple breakdown, have the best medical facilities. I'm assuming the best rehab facilities, the best aqua therapy rooms, everything, all the best saunas, everything it takes to get these guys feeling better and their bodies rehabilitating. I would assume with that kind of investment, these guys would have the best. So based on that, based on that assumption alone, I've got to look at the denominator here comes down to the medical team, because we've seen a whole bunch of the variation is the players, but the medical team is the same. They keep getting it wrong. We're not seeing this being the first time. Look at the whole situation with Skip, and not just with the first time he was out, with the second time he was out as well. The guessing games with when he's going to come back, this and that and everything. We really don't know what's happening and how these guys are being rehabilitated. Now, will people argue that it comes down to, they're waiting to make sure they're 100% before they come back? They don't want to risk them further or something like that.
Yep.
Could that be an argument then? But then if that's the case, then why not give an exaggerated timeline? Why not, if you think that this guy's going to be out for 6 weeks, let's say 10 weeks then, to be safer. Fuck it, because if he comes back earlier, hey, makes you look good. That's the way I'd look at it. You know what I mean? Play it that way. If I got to keep my boss happy, fuck it, lie to him. I don't know what to say with it, because they're just, I don't understand how they can just completely keep getting this wrong. Where is their medical information coming from?
So Joe, I've started a few comments, but I'm actually going to bring up a members chat because I've just seen it come up over here. And it's from someone very, very close to you and me, a brother that we get to see at the pub once or twice a year, and he goes by the name of Cody Mack.
Hey,
and it says, no surprise, it's the young players like Tanganga, Skip and Kulusevski who are picking up knocks all the time. They're not fully developed physically. And he's got a good point.
Yeah.
He's got a good point. This has been a thing, and I'm going to bring up the star comments as well now. And Ed, who brought up the super chat, and thank you for the super chat once again, Ed, has come up with a couple of things, and then TTF, my eyes are so bad at the moment, has brought up. So Ed is saying, my son and I are both ex-collegiate football players. This should not happen with a good medical team, because we're right. Like we said, we've got the.
There you go.
We've got the settings. We've got everything we need. And this medical team, I don't know if Conte's brought in his own, or it's the people were there that have been with the club for ages, or it's a bit of both.
But Brian, the key word in that was, go back to it for a sec.
Yeah, sure.
The key word in that was that it's collegiate. You know what I mean? Not to knock Ed, not to knock you here, Ed, but that's a lower level considerably. And he's saying that their medical teams were significantly more reliable.
Yep.
So how at this level can you not get that right? Go hire Ed's medical team then. Ed, let the club know who you guys are using. Fuck.
Exactly.
What we've got's not working.
Ed, send your CV in like a video in, but then also he has said the staff do not match the facilities. But also, and you know what, TTF has come up with another thing, and do you know what, I felt this, but not really paid much attention. It's kind of been in and out, and I completely agree with this. There's too much science related. Everything right now, if you
Mm.
look at it,
Okay,
yes, I
yeah,
agree. Listen,
good point.
one thing I will say, and I'm gonna hate myself for saying this, when Arsene Wenger came to these shores and started working in the Premier League, there is no doubt in my mind he revolutionised English football, whether it be the diet, the science, the mental health. He changed everything, and you could see it. Even when you watch things like Ian Wright and Dennis, they're all saying when he first came, they have no idea what he was talking about, the food they hated. But they said within 3-4 months, my God, were they feeling the benefits. But now they wear the things on their chest to that they're just everything. It's like being micromanaged. Every little thing they do is put in. There's another comment saying, and I can't find the comment saying that look at the class of '92 and the treble winning team United. They were playing non-stop, back to back, 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 and they hardly pick up injuries. And this has now become obviously we look at this a lot because obviously it's happening to our beloved football team. But surely, I mean, if I was in charge, I would want a major overhaul or a major inquest looked into. And Ed, correct me, I don't know if that can be done in football to say, right, I want a breakdown on what this medical team is doing, why this is happening, why are players who are meant to be coming back picking up these knocks? Are we rushing them back? Are we doing something wrong in their rehab? Should they be having? There's got to be something.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, sorry, you weren't asking me. Oh, no,
No,
sorry.
no. Look, this is a general question. It's a topic, and like I said, we had it coming up anyway. But it's something that needs to be looked at. If we go back to the time with Jose in the documentary, when Son and Kane were both out for long times, you saw Dele on the table, you saw Lucas Moura, you saw Lamella hacking people down and injuring them. But it was a constant thing, and I think there was an actual section in that documentary before COVID where he was saying like the amount of people that were in the medical, like on the treatment table, was just uncanny. And you look at this multi-million, and I'll put my hands up. It's a wonderful training complex. It is incredible, and what it offers the players, I don't even know. In some ways, like when they stay in the hotel there, and they have the same bed and the same pillows, and they have certain herbs in the room. Are we over pampering them? Are they so used to having everything made like they're like a king of some country or some kind of A-list celebrity that
I don't
they're
doubt
so
that. Yeah, I don't doubt that's part of it, bro.
is
The
it is it is
pampering,
it
a
is it
little
tough
bit.
love? Is it
Some of them.
I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts on those, Bobby? I mean, do you think we're giving them too? Are they having too much, and they're
It's
just?
not just them. It's players all across the
Of course,
world
no.
and
I mean,
every
in general,
team. I would say that in general that there we got players that have less and less heart and more concerned about their pocket and image and Twitter and the TikTok and all that other shit the kids use. And fuck me, go dance and stuff like that. That's more important than
great comment
working
here.
your game and everything and working on that. So sorry, what's it? Another issue is sorry, go ahead.
Another issue is players have no ambition. It's too comfortable to play at Spurs.
There
Maybe
you
there's
go.
a lack of effort to put into. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
these
what
are
I'm saying, Reload. That's exactly what I was just gonna say, buddy. That's it's exactly what there's no point in putting in an effort because I get the same paycheck regardless. You know,
exactly.
break their fucking paychecks down. Say, okay, every game, if you complete each pass you complete, you get this much. And for everything you don't do, you minus shit. You know what I mean? Fucking get ruthless or something. But that's not reality. It's never gonna happen like that. You know, make them earn it, but they don't have to. Some of them, and some of them don't give a shit about earning it. But then we do have players that do want to earn it. You know, I'm not gonna to say that all of our players don't have a heart and don't put in an effort. You know, there is a lot that do, but that's an issue across all games, anyways. But we got to move on here, buddy. Man,
We
we've
are
been
going to
on
move on,
this
but
one for
the last
a long
comment,
while,
yeah,
right?
the last comment I'm going to say on this because Ed's just put in another thing,
Yeah.
and he has said medical staff in most US sport leagues at both pro and collegiate levels are valued quite extensively. So That is done here. I don't know
They're evaluating it
if
and
it's
we're
done
not.
back home. But do you know what? Maybe I should reach out to. Obviously, I tell people when I wax lyrical about Alfie Devine, it's because one of my parents' friends' kids was his doctor on the Wigan medical team. Obviously, Wigan is a completely different level to us, but maybe it would be get to get some insights and maybe do a show on this. Ed, if you'd like to, if we do a show on it on Tottenham on Tour and we talk about the medical team, I don't know if you follow me on social media or Tottenham on Tour, reach out to us because I'd love to pick your bones on that. And before we bring up the next one, and I do it every time, the Diamond is in the building. The Diamond, Sue Smith, is in the
Hey,
building.
Sue, good
Many
evening.
of these players have been there too long, are too comfortable. Familiarity breeds contempt. Morning, Brian and Bobby.
Good
Bang on the
morning,
money.
darling. Good
Bang
morning.
on the money. So before we go on to the next section, and this will be the first time I'm bringing it up, you're going to see that floating banner, which is normally me doing what I do when I say, listen, we love the support. We're trying to grow our channel, Tottenham on Tour, which hit 5,000 followers. The link to
Good
our
stuff.
channel is on the description. You can just click that and it'll take you. If you can subscribe brilliantly. Bobby, quickly speak about your channel and where they can find you.
We're over here at the 3 Spurs Boys, the number 3 and the Spurs Boys. Ba-bam. Yeah, come on over. We'll be back on Sunday night with Kuv and the Kang there, and the shows. The boys will be having their show, OTP, off the pitch there, their own version now, and on Wednesday evenings or Tuesday evenings, depending on what night we are playing.
Uh,
So, yeah, 3 Spurs Boys, number 3 Spurs Boys. Appreciate you guys coming over, giving the boys a sub, and giving us some support.
Okay, and the most important thing, which is this banner going across the bottom, is every time we've done a late show, we have hit 100 live likes, and that's our target every single show.
Ooh.
We are currently at 59.
How many people
There
are
is
watching?
144
What?
people watching.
That's like 90 of you haven't hit
144,
like?
and we're at 59 likes. So please, we're trying to get over 100 likes for every show. Please, if you get the chance,
Come on.
just give that like
Hit the fucking button. It's
just
free.
just give that a like. I will, when we get closer, I start playing Tottenham Hotspur bingo.
Make Brian
And
happy.
start calling out players' names the closer and closer we get. But the next two subjects we're going to touch very briefly, and it's something I wanted to talk about, and it's a simple thing: ideas of accountability. And this I want to get a lot of comments, mainly coming in from the people in the chat, and bring them involved. I've been saying, and I said it on We Are Tottenham TV, there's no accountability at this club
At what level?
at any level: board,
Exactly.
manager, player, medical team. Big one for me, social media. As you know, Bobby, I tweeted last night or the night before saying, "Here we go. Let me just wait for the good morning tweet of here we go again, or we learn from this, or we must be better, or whatever." And again, you could have said last night wasn't good enough. We come back stronger, or we go again. Conte is accountable. The players are accountable. The board are accountable. But I don't know why, but there just seems to be absolutely no accountability at this club, and that's the fish rots from the top. And as I've said, for me, this club is just get fourth at all costs and the hell with everything else. But if again I put myself in, if I acted like this when I was working at Booking.com, I was like, hey, I hit my targets, I've got,
Meh.
and I'm just gonna fuck about. My boss would be like, what the hell do you think you're doing? If all of us did our day job, obviously I'm not working right now. Bobby, you're a bus driver. Ryan's a bus driver.
Good times.
If you went to work tomorrow and you drove your bus the way Tottenham Hotspur performed against United,
I'd crash into shit.
exactly, and you'll lose your job. They'll be like, what the hell are you doing? It's like you're drunk or whatever. This is not what we... There just seems to be no accountability, and there's nothing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what I kind of want to guess is, am I on my own when I say this and feel this way? Or are other people feeling like I feel that there has to be some form of accountability shown by the club to within themselves, but not only that, to us? What's your thoughts on it, Bobby?
Brian, the problem is that when I asked you the question right from the beginning, when you put this banner up, the question was who is accountable, and you simply threw your hands up and said everybody. You know, And yeah, Lee's right. You know, if you don't like the stream, you're not allowed in the chat. Get out. We're waiting. You know, how many people are in there, Brian?
There is 139. Mate, I think it's
139.
139.
And
My
how many
eyes.
likes?
Let me just refresh. We're up to 78.
78?
We're up to
With
78.
22 more. Come on.
Uh,
Well,
so,
I'll
so,
wait.
so, so we're getting there. But what I will say, it's good to see Lee. Although when we started, I was
Great to
waiting
see
for his.
Lee.
I
Always
was
good
waiting
to
for his normal message where he puts nighttime. We are Tottenham TV nighttime division open for duty or whatever, ready for duty. Big up Lee in the chat. But yeah, I really want to know, like we were just saying about accountability. Where do you stand on it, Bobby?
Where does it start, Brian? That's the problem. Where do we start? That's the issue.
Wherever
You
you
know what I
want.
mean? When it's such a
Wherever.
big issue. No, I'm saying where do
Oh,
we start
okay,
with
as a
taking
club.
accountability? As a club, who does it start at? What level does it start at? Do we start at the top? You can't start at the top. You can't break the top of the pyramid. You cannot. So you have to restructure the bottom of the pyramid. Now, have we done that, bringing in Paratici and everything like that? If we have done that, the only way we're really going to find out an answer to that is in January. Especially now, if God willing, this Google deal goes through, even if it's just the naming rights. Uh, uh, let's hope this gets through. Let's hope whatever's going on with the NFL, all the rumors regarding all that nonsense doesn't happen, and we don't lose money as well. But it's they've got to show they're going to invest it. What's this? Sorry.
So I'm just going to bring up some of the comments where people are saying it, and this one I love from Johnny Bethnal Green Ken. We lose, it's Conte's fault, but if Levy puts his hand in his pockets, we wouldn't be chatting like this. All we do is pay Rockstar to money for basically we pay Rockstar money for a bunch of buskers. I haven't heard that terminology, and I absolutely goddamn love it.
Great comment.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, good comment. People in the north. This is it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when it comes to accountability, I'm just going through these. We're getting a bit upbeat seeing Lewis cease ownership to another family member. We'll be like this. Yep. This is. I mean, again, accountability. There it is. There it is. All is good in the world. I can relax. My ADD and my OCDs can relax.
Liz Truss's
That
fault.
message has come in. So yeah. I mean, this is just something I'm just trying to ascertain if it's me that's feeling this or if I'm reading too much into it or because there's sometimes like even today when I don't know I will talk about this. I put a tweet up today for any of you that are season ticket holders and like I said Ryan's in the background and he is or members. You would have received an email from the club today. And in that email, it's letting you know that in Park Lane Square, we are opening up, get to the ground early because we're opening up the big screen and we are premiering it. We are premiering it by showing
Shit's real.
Southampton versus Arsenal.
Come watch our
That's how we're
rivals.
premiering the big screen. Come and watch the team who are our bitterest rivals, top of the league. Maybe win against Southampton and go further ahead of us before we go into the Newcastle game. And don't get me wrong, like I've said, I don't care how many functions we put on at the club, how many events, how many functions, how many parties, how many concerts, how many boxing events, how many if the money goes back into the club. But surely, when you're bringing something up like this, you want to do it on a Tottenham Champions League away game or something else. You don't say, hey, come to the ground early, come to the big screen where you can watch Southampton Arsenal. This again. It's do they know what they're doing?
Whatever they can to make more money, man.
It's
selling our souls, buddy.
But yeah, listen. I mean, let's get off accountability because I'll start going.
Yeah.
I'll start going.
Next.
Do you know what?
Next.
Well, do you know what? We've been talking for a bit. We're going to do a quick. I'm going to leave the last one out, which was Conte's winter mission, and just basically we're touching it very quickly, very quickly. This is going to be very quick, Bobby. During this winter break, when people go on the World Cup, what do you see for you as Conte's key things that he needs to achieve? Forget the transfer market because that opens in January. I'm talking about this World Cup break. What's his main for you? His main things that he's got to accomplish during this break?
Get the players he basically wanted right from the very beginning. We all know what's on the list. We all know what's on there. And if you go right now and you look at that free agent list coming up for next summer, the players that are available from January transfer window. Now, my issue with that, the only concern about doing that is going after those kind of players is that I
Oh,
can
so
see
sorry, Bobby.
us.
Forget transfers. Forget
Oh,
transfers.
sorry. Go
Talking
on then.
about the players
Mm-hmm.
that are there. So obviously, once we break up for the World Cup,
Yeah.
the internationals that are representing their country
Mm-hmm.
go off to Qatar or
Yeah.
go off and meet their groups wherever their country, then fly to Qatar. The players that are at the training ground,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be the youth players that he's got there on the fringe, the players that we bought in January that haven't featured, what for you is the necessity things that he needs to get accomplished during this break with what he's got right now?
Well, the fact that a lot of those players that are on our bench, and we're hoping that we'll end up getting a few minutes here and there through the competitions and some of the other games, and maybe even late substitute appearances until January. I'm hoping he could just basically develop them the way he needs to. Even Spence has just come out and said that behind the scenes he's been working with him and he feels that he's been developing his game and everything, and he's learning things that he never learned at the lower level and everything. So here we are all wondering what Conte's up to, and now we kind of have a reason right from the horse's mouth too. So maybe there is a method to his madness, and the people that are saying in Conte we trust, and follow the Messiah kind of thing. Maybe they're on to something. Who knows, right? All we can do right now is again, right, we've got to just remain positive. That's the only friggin' thing we have, but we cannot accept. Remaining positive and accepting performances like this are two very different things. But for him, I'm hoping is through the winter breaks, he's hoping his players stay healthy through the World Cup and everything. And I know he was talking about taking the players that are left behind away for training, for warm weather training,
That's
right?
what this comment
So,
here. This what yeah.
so yeah, so okay, there you go. Um, so if that can be accomplished, then obviously it's going to be a step towards him getting what he wants. And if there's a method to his madness, then we've got to let the man unleash his madness and see where we end up.
Yep. I mean, for me, it is spending as much time with Jed Spence as humanly possible. Obviously, he's going to be with other players. The two players I want to see come out of this, sorry, he's got Bissouma as well. Out of the first team that are currently there, I want to see him, because he didn't get a pre-season with Jed Spence because the deal took so long. So he didn't go to Korea, he didn't go to Israel, he's got a full month to work with him and say, right, I've got a lot of time I can give to you. He can do the same with Bissouma, but I'm now going to bring up my boy, my superstar, who with the FA Cup coming through, and if we're through to the Carabao Cup unbeaten Forest, I want to see Alfie Devine. I want Alfie Devine in that Spurs team. Not starting.
At least starting to come on, get some minutes.
Get some minutes. Either you send him out on loan, or listen. I've waxed lyrical about this guy for way too long, and I'm telling people he is going to be not just a superstar. He's going to be a world superstar. I would say that I will pretty much say he will be coming to Canada or America or Mexico for the 2026 World Cup with England. He's that good. He's that good.
Right.
If I could go put a bet on, and I might do that when I get back home in November, and I don't bet, I want to put a bet on that because he is that damn good. He is that damn good, and it's what we're missing. It's what we're missing. This guy is pure class. And then, like I said, he's got a lot of time to spend with Alfie. I mean, with Jed, he's got a lot of time to spend with Kulusevski. And we're talking about Jed. First of all, big up Mr. Steak, and I've seen Dermot in the building as well. So big up Dermot. So yep. So now we'll get into the final topic. We're going to get into the final topic before we start bringing guests on. Just to let people know the running order.
Okay.
First, it's Ryan. Then all the way from Korea, the person that I think looks like you on the very first time, we've got Gabby from
Gabby.
Spurs. We've then got it's KPV, who will be keeping his 100% record. We've then got Mile High Hotspur. I see Leo in the background. And then hopefully the Assassinator will come on in case Carl is going to win the 100%. He's going to win the 100%.
Kyle's definitely going into the lead tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely. Well, he'll be if the Assassinator doesn't get here before we get to the end, he will be the winner. And I just need to say, we are 17 17 away from the 100. So please, guys, if
It's
you get the
free.
chance,
How do you not hit the
smash
like button? It's
that
free.
like button.
Come
Please,
on.
please do.
Come on.
So,
Come on.
Bobby, I'm going to let you go.
Help me help you.
I'm going to let you go
Help
first
me
with
help
this.
you.
I'm going to let you go first with this.
Fuck me. Let's go and
Newcastle,
buy every player that they bought.
Newcastle preview.
Let's go buy every player they bought. Undefeated in what was it, Brian? We were looking at 4 or 5 games now.
My thing that I was looking at, it showed the last 4 games where they've taken out of a possible 12, they've taken 10. They're
no slouches, you know. They're not. They're everybody wrote them off early and stuff like that, and I don't think there was much hope for them. But Eddie Howe's got them doing the business, and they bought players they needed to fill the right gaps. And you know, and this is without Isak even firing yet.
He's
You know,
injured.
could you imagine if he hits? But when he comes and hits form or whatever, it's you know, right now they're already in a position where they're going to be better. And if in January they go and even add a few more pieces, they're going to be crazy. But right now, yeah, I am worried about them. I am on Sunday, especially with the way we played. How can we not worry? I'd be worried about playing fucking Millwall or something right now. You know, honestly,
don't say that team name. Don't say that team name.
This is it's you know, it was Middlesbrough. There you go. That's what I meant to say. There you go.
Where Michael Carrick's gone.
So it's so fucking scary right now, Brian. I'm really concerned about this game. I don't know what team's going to turn up. I just don't. And how do we give a preview? How do we give a score prediction when you don't know who's going to turn up? My Spurs fan cap is on, so I'm gonna give it to our boys and hope that they can squeeze out a 2-1 victory and rebound again, because we seem to at least rebound from our losses. But that was just such a morale sucking loss that I think we've got a big climb to rebound from that, man.
Eric Dyer hat-trick.
So yeah, Eric Dyer hat-trick from Big K. Yeah, okay, we'll see about that.
Yeah, I heard that.
So what I will say, we've had a member chat from Dermot, who's been a member for 7 months. So thanks, Dermot, for supporting the boys. And he simply says, Conte will take us to glory. Come on, you Spurs. He'll take us to glory if he's allowed to spend and get him what he wants, because there's a winning formula, which is give Conte what he needs equals trophies. Give Conte what he wants equals trophies. So that's what we've got to hope for. Now, for me, when it comes to Newcastle, I said before the Manchester United game that the Newcastle game concerns me more. I have a very, very soft spot for Newcastle, as in the city, not the owners, and I love that club. Whenever I used to go away, Newcastle away was always my greatest away day. The stadium, the fans, the people in Newcastle. I love the area. It's a wonderful part of the country that I just completely, their whole city runs on this football team. And you know what? And I spoke about this on Henry Wright Show, and I said, they've been in charge now for a year. And you know what? And I may come in for some flack for this. They've handled themselves. You can't forget what they are, the owners, and who they stand for. What they've done in their first year is very impressive. They haven't gone and spent the stupid money and started whacking down money for stupid and offering stupid wages. They've backed Eddie Howe. They've brought in people like, I'm going to say Bruno because I always struggle saying this surname. Thank you. They are playing some very, very good football. Nick Pope, a wonderful, wonderful purchase. Callum Wilson, when he's fit, is incredible. Almiron is starting to play wonderfully. They have got a team playing well. Eddie Howe's Bournemouth played very good football. Newcastle are doing it. They have the best defence in the league.
Botman,
they've got a set piece taker. This game, and you got to remember with Newcastle, when we had Poch and we were going on runs, the teams that ended it every single time was Newcastle at home. When we should have finished second and came third in a 2-horse race, we lost 5-1. Who to? Newcastle. This game, for me, is a very, very for me, it's going to be harder than United. And as I said, I'm now going to start taking some accountability for myself. Whereas by the way, we are nine away from hitting 100.
Come on.
We are Darren
Come on.
Anderton. We are Darren Anderton away from hitting
Come on.
100. So
Is it
yeah,
time?
this what I'm saying, where I'm going to start holding myself accountable. I come on these shows, I host these shows, I go on these shows, and we say, do you know what? Now's the best time to play these teams. We're looking at them, we're bigger, we're stronger, and we start geeing ourselves up and go, yeah, we're going to win. And then we're more often than not at the moment we're having these performances. So I'm now not going to start saying, oh yeah, we're going to win. It's going to be 4-1, 5-1, 3-1. Yeah, Kane to score 2. Son to get. I'm not saying this anymore, unless I actually feel it's going to happen. And I actually think this is going to be a very, very, very hard fought draw. I really do. I'm very, very, very concerned about this game. I'm going for a 1-1, and I actually think they'll take the lead, and we might just equalise right near the end. I really do. And we have a problem if I can pretty much assure that even Adam Phillip, Joe Linton, who is now playing like a god up there and is loved when he was like their Emerson. I'm positive Emerson's going to be playing. He'll come back into the team ahead of Spence, ahead of Doherty, which I just don't get. I'm concerned, so I'm going for a very hard fought 1-1. What about you, Bobby? What's your actual prediction?
My fan prediction is 2-1. My realistic prediction, honestly, it just on based of everything we've seen, the way they were playing versus the way we're playing. I'll even say 2-0 to Jesus, about 2-0 to them, man.
Okay, so one thing I will say, Ryan, get ready because you'll be coming on very, very soon. I'm just going to read out a super chat, then you'll be coming on, brother. We're going to start getting some guests on. We've got a super chat again from Phil, so thank you very much indeed for the support, brother. If we had the players Newcastle had brought in, where would we be? Isaac, Bruno, Botman, Trippier, who we should never have let go of, etc. Also, what do you think of the mentality of our players? Bobby, you
amazing if we got those players. Fucking amazing. There's not a single player in that list that we couldn't use on our team that wouldn't fill a gap that we have on our team, that wouldn't improve the player that is currently there in that team, other than Isak, basically. Bruno, arguably, but he would definitely fit into our system a lot better for what we want to do. But anyways, that and the mentality of our players, we saw it. What mentality?
Exactly. I mean,
what I don't understand what the mentality is. If we're going to say it's a professional mentality, then if that wasn't even professional.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, I coach kids, man, 11-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and they put in more fucking effort. You know?
Yep.
They'll at least, they don't know what they're doing, some of them, because it's a youth league that some kids have never even played before. They just run towards the ball. They don't know what the fuck they're doing at all. Some of them are just so stupid and annoy the shit out of me. But they try, and I love them for that. They try to get better, and they try to at least fucking kick the ball. And for us, it seems like we can't even accomplish that. I can see kids at that age that can't do jack shit when they start, end up kicking a ball and learning how to pass by the end of the season. Great, something accomplished. But our fucking professional players, we can't string. Brian, we're not getting 5-yard passes completed. How is that fucking possible? That ball goes into the back and it's heartache. The holy shit, man, it scares the hell out of me. It's just like we don't want to. We're scared to play. It seems like we're scared. As soon as they start running at us, it's like we look at every player and they're coming at us like it's fucking Halloween and they're Michael Myers with a knife. What the fuck are these guys scared of? They're so fucking scared to do something. I'm sorry, chat, everybody. You know I don't lose my shit normally, but I'm frustrated right now, and Fuck me, man. Like, come on. Like I said, I got 8-year-olds got to do this shit better by the end of the season. How are you guys getting paid what you get paid and you're not getting this basic shit done? Please, for the love of God, sort this out. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, I'm going to bring this up, and then Sam Schofield's actually added some other players into this. So Isaac, I liked, really liked the look of him before Richarlison came in. Really would have liked him. Bruno, we looked at, we know what happened there. Botman, we looked at, we know what happened there. Trippier, shouldn't have got rid of him. We got rid of him after the World Cup, and he was playing through injury. Then you've got Sam Schofield, who's added Nick Pope, who people are saying they would have wanted him to replace replace Lloris. I'm still sticking with Dean Henderson, but Pope is a great goalkeeper. Almiron is playing well. They have good structure and good keeper. So that, and obviously the fans are right, but they are in a very, very good place. And before we bring Ryan on, we got a super chat in from Leo, who's in the back end, and you're going to have to read it because there's a word in there that I don't understand and can't say.
Bobby K just loves the soccer moms.
Yeah, I couldn't say the S word. So
it's football moms, man. Come on,
I know,
now,
but
Leo.
you can't say. Yeah, I can't say the S word. You know that.
Yeah.
I've actually told people, if you hear me say that, you can
Trust
punch
me,
me.
buddy. That's
can
all in the movies, buddy. They're not worth loving in real life. Some of them.
People know back home and here, if you ever hear me say the S word, you have full authority to punch me in the face as hard as you want if ever I say that S word. But enough of that. It's time to start bringing on the guests.
Yes, he's been
We're going to
waiting
start off.
patiently. Get him on.
He
Get
has
him
been
on.
waiting
Get him on.
very
Get him on.
patiently. He's got
Get
the
him on.
day off. He's a brother of mine who I love dearly. He is picking me up at the airport when I touch down in London on November the 9th. And I'm
Nice.
back till the end of the season. My brother, Ryan, how are you,
Good morning, good evening, hello everyone.
Hello,
it's not too
Ryan.
late
What's up,
because
buddy?
2 nights ago, I still hadn't got home yet. So you want to talk about slapping up and down the country? You're talking about a 4-hour and 8-hour round trip.
Yeah, I mean,
Good
Ryan,
times.
obviously people will start to get to know you because obviously me and the Levy out with you, me, Graham, and then obviously you come on Tottenham on tour. We go to games as often as possible. You started coming on other channels. You're a part of Tottenham on tour. I forgot my own channel name. How clever am I? So Ryan, this is your debut on the Late Late Show, I believe, isn't it?
It is.
So it's
Because I'm
just like when
usually
you
tucked
come on
up
Good
in bed
Morning
by now.
Tottenham, when you come on Good Morning Tottenham, wherever. This moment is wherever you want to take it, and we start talking. So feel free. The chair is yours. Where do you want to begin, my friend?
Definitely with Man United. People want to call out Conte's tactics, Conte's style of play. It doesn't matter what style of play you have if the team can't string 3 5-yard passes together. So all this about Conte out is shit. It is shit football when you've got shit players. When you've got the likes of Dyer, Davis, who can't string 5-yard passes together, Emerson Royale, Matt Doherty, Hugo Lloris, who can't pass 5 yards, stuff like that. Great shot stopper. We always say one of the best shot stoppers in the league, but he can't pass a fucking ball. So you want all this fancy football with players who can't fucking do it anyway. So what's the fucking point anyway? Best thing we can do is just stick by Conte and hope for the fucking best, because if Conte does go, then it's a domino effect where Kane will go, Son won't be happy, Romero won't be happy, Bentancur won't be happy, Kulusevski won't be happy, and it's going to be a domino effect right down to the end. Onto the performance. The performance was an absolute disgrace. It is the worst performance under Conte, on par with Middlesbrough away in the Cup last year, which I was also unfortunate to have to travel half the entire length of the country to go see. And that was a week prior to me traveling up to Burnley, halfway up, almost the entire way up the country and back. And again, didn't get back till 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. So the one thing you spoke about, accountability. Why don't players, and players have done it, but they usually do it if they get absolutely slaughtered via the scoreline, not necessarily the performance. But you never ever see players come out and apologise for a performance. They apologise for a result if it's really bad, but they never come out and apologise for a performance. I'd like to see that a little bit of hold your hands up. That just wasn't acceptable. They say it in, social media terms. At times they go, post-match press conferences saying, yeah, it's not good enough. We need to work harder. How about some apologies to the fans? That would be nice. A refund from the club would also be nice, but with that bold, stingy bastard upstairs, it's never going to happen, regardless of the situations. You're coming back on the 9th. I cannot wait. It's going to be fun because I'm picking you up, coming back for a bit of breakfast, and then we're on the way to Forest. Same
We
day.
are indeed. We
So
are
you've got
indeed.
a busy day.
No, mate. Listen, I've already said to Ben and Simeon, I'll probably sleep in the car on the way up and on the way back because I'm going to be exhausted. We've got a super chat coming from Lee Richards. We'll tackle this together. You can go first with this, Ryan. It says, honest question: are we all overreacting after Wednesday? We're still third, and within 3 of the next 4 games at home, well placed to stay in the top 3 before the World Cup break. You go first, Ryan, buddy.
Are we overreacting solely on Wednesday or as a whole season? Solely on Wednesday, absolutely not, because that performance was diabolical. And for me, Conte takes absolutely no blame for that, because when you look back, 1-0 down or 2-0 down, and you look back to your bench and you've got Oliver Skip there to try and change the game. The only thing I would say is I would have liked Oliver, he's talking about players need more minutes to get up to match speed. The minute it was 2-0, I said, Oliver Skip, come on, and just use it as a time to get match fitness up. That's the only thing I'd use it say to Conte was get these players up to match speed a bit quicker by getting them on the pitch sooner. Not to try and change the game, but just use them just to get for further down the line, just in case we do need them. At least then they're fully up to speed. But no blame attached to Conte for making subs late, because what's he got on the bench? Yet again, we've 2 injuries. You named Kulusevski and Richarlison, and we're back to square one that we were prior to January, relying on Kane or Son, praying they don't get injured. And if Kane isn't firing to Son, then we've got nothing, because there's always this big debate: who's more important, Kane or Son? Kane's massively more important than Son. Yep. If Kane isn't firing, Son isn't firing. If Son isn't firing, Kane can still fire. But our most important player, as we all know, right now this season, is Kulusevski. He's the only one that, in my mind, at the moment, Kane's good at, but it's not happening for him. Is when the ball is fired into him, it sticks. It sticks. He's the only one that takes the ball, is the creative outlet that can actually go either side. Even when you know which way he's going, you can't stop him. It's just one of them things. Are we overreacting as a whole? Probably not. Look, I was very happy with the start we've made to the season. If you're happy with just top 4 or top 3, then no, there's no reason to overreact. But seeing the filth top of the league, as Brian would say, the filth, I call them the scum, because that's what they are, Woolwich scum.
The filthy scum.
Yeah.
We'll combine them.
Look, at the start of every season, ever since the Pochettino days, my goal at the start of the season has always been to win the league. We've shown we can compete and we can push them far. We're still only 4 points behind, albeit played a game more. But Arsenal's game in hand and City's game in hand is against each other. So they will be points to be had. One or both of them will be dropping points. It's a good, solid start to the season. Won every single game at home. Can't complain. People saying it's been boring football. It's been attritional football. You can't always play amazing football with bang average players. And there was a quote that actually came out from Conte today that Alistair Gold did release. I've just got to try and find it now. Bloody hell, it's lost. But he was talking about that we've got to try and move forward in the progress of becoming title challengers, so to speak. So he wants January to be the next step. He wants the steps moving quicker. So whether that means getting who he's claiming now to be more dead wood and to replace him, whether that'll be the likes of Ben Davis or Hojbjerg or someone like that. It might not be Hojbjerg. I'm just throwing out names that Conte may now be seeming surplus to requirements because there's action that's going to take place in January. January window, we all know what that's going to be like. It's always a hectic window. World Cup fee included, where players that we will be interested in, lo and behold, they'll probably have a great World Cup and that'll bump up the price. But yeah, people, I want to go back to the summer window because.
So before you do that, we'll go back to the summer window. But I just want to get Bobby's outtake, and then I'll give my outtake on the super chat, and then we'll come back to you in the summer window. So Bobby, what's your?
Well, I'll be quick because this is Ryan's time right now, so I don't want to cut into his time. For me, basically, it depends what part of the fan base you're looking at. If you're looking at the ones that are screaming Conte out, yes, you're overreacting. Calm the fuck down. If you're looking at the ones saying, "Oh, it's okay, we'll get him on Sunday, guys," then yeah, what the fuck? Spice yourself up a little bit. If you're looking at the ones where I think honestly where we fall into, where we're just saying, "Look, guys, come on, what is going on? Figure it the fuck out. Something is up. We can all see it. We're just YouTube guys, man. We're just sitting here chatting with each other, giving our opinions on this shit, and we see this, and everybody in the chat has their opinions. They see this. So how the fuck do these guys in the club not see it? That's what I don't get. So if we don't react, if we don't lead, then we're not going to get the results that we really want from this club. It's not going to fucking happen. You know, we've got the opportunity in front of us right now to accomplish something, and we've got to take it. We have to fucking take it right now, and that's my 2 seconds.
Okay, so for me and Lee, the thing with this, I agree with like what Ryan said over the season, maybe not, but what I don't like seeing is when we say we're still third with the next 4 games being at home. They're not obviously at their home. There should be home bankers because we've won everything at home. But I don't want to be as Tottenham Hotspur. I don't want to be. We could with the games at home well placed to stay in the top. We shouldn't be well placed. We should be already cementing that position. If we'd picked up the win against West Ham, if we'd picked up, trying to think of another game where you know what I mean, just those games where we've had, or like the draw against Frankfurt in the Champions League, or Sporting away. If that had been a draw at Sporting away and a win at Eintracht Frankfurt, we're through with games to spare. I don't like when we say, as they always say, I'd rather the points on the board than games in hand. This technically isn't game in hands, and I know what Lee's trying to say, but we are right now, as Lee's rightly said, 3 of the 4 games going at home before the World Cup. The way we have played, you would like to think that's 9 points. You would like to say, and let's face it, the history right now backs it up that should be 9 points. This season, we have not dropped a single point at home in both League and Champions League. Doesn't mean it's going to happen now. Technically, on record, it should do. I'd rather say we are going to be in the top 3, not if we win those 3. We're in a good place. I'd rather if we just had those couple of points. I know where he's coming from. Listen, if we had said at the beginning of the season that on October the 21st, October the 22nd, back home now, we'll be going into this 3rd in the league and top of our Champions League group. Forget mentioning football and points and whatever. Every single one of us would take it. Every single one of us would take it. But I just want it to be not if we win these, we could be there. We should be beating some of these teams, and it should be we are 3rd. We will be 3rd going into the World Cup. Not we could be, if you know what I mean. But yeah, thank you for the super chat, Lee, and always your support on all the channels.
I actually said if we went to Old Trafford and put in a performance and won, top 4 was done. We would have been 10 points clear of 5th. 10 points plus Conte, in my opinion, meant top 4 was done. So we could have started looking up and potentially pushing Arsenal and City for the title. Now we're sort of like, it's one of them. Do we look down or do we look up? I want us to look up.
This is a good point. But you wanted to speak about the summer window, Ryan. Yeah. So let's go back to that wonderful time.
That wonderful, wonderful transfer window where a net spend of probably 30 million was spent. When
we're 1 away from 100, by the way, people. We're Hugo Lloris, Pat Jennings, Eric Torsfeld, Ray Clement, Paul Robinson, Bradford. No, Bradford didn't wear 1. He wore 24. No. We are 1 away. 1 away. Sorry, Ryan. I will interrupt if we hit 100 again, but you're talking your things. So
Who's
So,
gonna do
where
it? Who's gonna do
150
it?
million, where we were all having a wank fest over thinking, oh, Levy's going to do it and all of you were calling it come the end, a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 window. Look at where we are now. Look at where we are now. 2 injuries and we're back to where we were a year ago. When, if you look at the signings overall, separately, we signed an old age pensioner.
100. Thank you. We are Tottenham TV Army. The
That's because of
100%
me.
record group. Mate, Ryan, I will thank you. Well done, Ryan, for helping us. But no, honestly, we are Tottenham TV Army. Strike gold again. Thank you for helping us achieve that.
Yep.
Ryan, I'm not going to interrupt you again. I apologize.
Old
Sorry,
age
I'm just
pensioner
gonna
left wing
quickly
back who's
unlike and
past
then
it.
like again, so I'm 100.
Yeah. Old age pensioner at left wing back who's past it. Look, I love Perisic. He's a great player, but he's past it. 5 years ago, getting Perisic would have been a brilliant signing, but now it's just, it's just adding to squad depth. It's a good signing, nothing more. It's nothing special. There's a reason why the likes of Chelsea, United, Bayern Munich, Man City, all these top clubs weren't after him. Right wing back, we signed a championship player. Okay, you might think, everyone's calling for him to come in, Jed Spence. We signed a championship player at right wing back. We signed a one for the future. I know Brian loves that term, one for the future.
I do.
A left wing back from Italy, Udinese, a Deutsch. We signed a left centre back as a stopgap who can't even get ahead of Ben Davis. We signed a £60 million player who's currently injured that has not got a goal in the Premier League. I don't base anything off the stats. I think he's going to be a good player, but yeah, again, a position we did not need at the time in Richarlison. And we signed, who was the other one? There was one more, Yves Bissouma, who was actually done on my birthday, who we were all mounting over, which I think in time, look, I'm giving Bissouma the season. He gets 1 season, by the way, Bissouma. If he doesn't do it, what would a big club do? If he can't hack it, try and get your money back ASAP. There shouldn't be any of this. I'll give him a year and a half, 2 years. He needs to get used to the league. He's been here 3-4 years for Brian.
Yep.
So he should be used to the league. Give him a year under Conte, and that's all you're getting. If you can't cut it by the start of next season, he's gone in January. That's simple. And that's how clubs should act with ruthlessness. That's what we didn't do with Ndombele. That's what we didn't do with the Celso. That's what we didn't do with Dele Alli when he went down the drain. Same with Winks when he went down the drain. We didn't get rid of these players soon enough. Yeah. So the window, don't look at window and rate. Someone said, look at the window as successful or a failure. And that's what I've started doing now. And the window was a complete and utter failure because we didn't get the players we needed in the positions that we wanted.
It's, you know what, Ryan, you know my feelings on this, as does anyone that will listen. Let's face it. I mean, I've spoken to this cabinet about this many a time. It doesn't have a lot to say to me. It doesn't answer back to me.
We try and explain it to people like the Spurs show in groups, and they just don't want to have any of it. And I'm trying to be polite with them now, trying to win them over by being polite now instead of screaming down their faces.
Yeah, I mean, you do get it. Obviously, we're very vocal about this, and there's people. As I said, and I've said this on a few occasions. I look at it a different. The way I look at it, Ryan, is obviously I'm 43 years old now, so I'm before you started supporting Spurs. Obviously, Bobby has been
So you've seen
supporting
us win
Spurs.
the FA Cup.
I saw it in 1991. I saw us lose it in
Yeah.
1987, and I was 1 and 2 years old in 80 and 81. Sorry, 81, 82. I was 2 and 3 years old, respectively. But
So you've also seen us win a European Cup as well.
Like 84, I was 4 years old. I was 5 years old. My maths.
All I've seen is a League Cup.
I was 5 years old and in bed, mate. I was in bed. But I look at it now, and I look at it, and you got to look at it. There's certainly, by the way, Russell Brooks completely agrees with what you're saying. So big up, Russell. I look at it, and there's people that I know that are Manchester United fans that all they knew growing up was Alex Ferguson. So all they knew was winning. Great players, Cantonars, the Beckhams, the blah blah, the Ronaldos, Van Nistelrooys, Jaap Stams, Van der Sars.
Scholes.
Yeah, I can go on and on and on. And then when he left, they're going through what they're going through now. They're like, huh? Well, what's this? You look at the filth, and that a lot of people only grew up with Wenger.
Mm.
And at the first part of Wenger, they were only used to fantastic, brilliant, and I hate saying this, football, the Invincibles, winning, title challenging touch. Then you look at Chelsea, and there's people that have only known the Abramovich era. Same thing. And then you look back at it, and we have our fans that only know the Levy era. And what they see from the Levy era is a team that weren't doing so well under Sugar and whatever, but did win trophies and do stuff. Move to a new stadium, move into a new training ground, regularly get or not regularly, but start to get Champions League, but always fail. Now, that's all they know. That's all they know, and it's come to the point. And this time under Levy is where it's been where pie charts and stats and financial records and net spend has become a thing. So a lot of people only know this, and they think, "Oh my God, we're wonderful. We're wonderful." We got people like Lee. We got people like Aaron in the chat that remember my times and before. And it's very, very hard for us. It's very, very hard for us because we know. I'm still one of those that if you said to me now, top 4 and no trophy or 5th in the Carabao Cup, I'm taking 5th in the Carabao Cup. To a lot of the modern day fans, they're like, "What are you talking about, top 4?" And it's a big issue, isn't it, Bobby?
Big time.
I'm
I've
still
seen
one
that
of them.
brand. I'm
still one of them,
30
but
years,
I'm
so
happy with either. I'm happy with either. Full. I'm not calling it a trophy, but it is very important. Look, it has been seen that Champions League football does equate to better quality players coming in, especially for a size of the club. Look, we aren't a Manchester United where we can throw 500 grand a week at players. Look, I'm not, and we're not asking anything of Daniel Levy. And this is where people do get confused. Where we're saying we should put the club, into debt to try and win. No, we've got enough money to seriously threaten the top sides if we wanted to.
Ryan, sorry, let me ask you this now quickly.
Yeah.
You said we can't pay players $500,000.
Yeah.
Why is it we can't pay them when we have the highest ticket prices in the league? What justifies having the highest? What justifies having the high ticket prices than the facilities? Because the ticket prices, to me, as a fan, should be adjusted according to the quality of the team. As a team creates more success every year, then their value goes up, and you see their ticket prices incrementally go up with that success.
I agree.
So we've seen
the
our
reason behind
tickets go up just
why
based on
why we can't virtually afford £500,000 a week to say slap on Harry Kane is because then you'll have Son knocking on the door and asking to be put close on parity with that. Then you have Hugo Lloris, you have Christian Romero, Kulusevski, and everyone else's wages will. And then that's when you get in trouble because 500 grand a week for 5 players is 2.5 million a week.
Yeah, right. You got to remember as well. We're the rumours are we're about to offer Conte 400 grand a week.
Conte's a manager.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But what I'm saying is, we have Harry Kane on 200 grand a week. I think that's what Conte is on roughly now, and that's a big jump to 400.
No, I think Conte is on 50. It's a 300 grand a week.
Okay. So
it's not really a big jump for an extra 100 grand a week.
Yeah,
say that,
but this thing with the revenue that's coming in,
yes,
potentially the money is there. It's just we won't.
Yes,
that's the difference. We won't. But one thing I will say, listen, like you said, Ryan, when you're talking about Man U, you are talking about a financial juggernaut.
Yes.
Even with the stuff they're going through right now.
We aren't a juggernaut financially in terms of United, who are raking in billions and billions a year. And I mean billions a year. The amount of sponsorship deals, the amount of money they make off TV, because they're live all over. If you ask anyone around the world, name an English club, they'll go Man United. They'll go Man United. Out of anyone else, they'll go Man United. They won't go Liverpool. They won't go City. They won't go Arsenal. They won't go Chelsea. And they won't go Spurs. Okay? They'll go Man United straight away because they are financially the biggest club in the world. Even more than Madrid, even more than Barcelona, even more than Bayern Munich. If you want to, in terms of the ones that aren't owned by countries, that can just go is 300 million. is that. And I'm talking PSG, Man City. Take them out of it. Man United are probably the biggest club definitely the biggest club worldwide in terms of making money. Spurs aren't at that level because to earn all that and to be well known, it's all through success as well. As Daigle brought up, all the United fans were brought up in the successful era of Sir Alex Ferguson. Many Arsenal fans were brought up in the successful era of Arsene Wenger, Chelsea with Abramovich, and now Man City. The amount of City shirts I even see, Liverpool as well, recently. The amount of Liverpool shirts I've been seeing in London the past year or two, it's been, geez, why is there so many Liverpool shirts? And another thing that's annoyed me, the amount of Gooner shirts I'm seeing lately. People wearing their Arsenal shirts, it's fucking fuming me. It's like,
well, I mean, I can't remember who, but we're going to get on to Newcastle in a moment, Ryan, and then we're going to start bringing on some other guests. But I can't remember who it was, Bobby. But we saw, I don't know, was it Chelsea? We saw a few when we were in Niagara Falls on Sunday, or was it? There was another London. I kept saying, I think it may have been Chelsea.
We saw quite a few Chelsea kids when we were walking around Niagara Falls.
When you win, you get more fans. You get a bigger fan base because you're winning. Because you get. I don't want to put it
but
like
there's quite a handful of Liverpool too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to remember Chelsea have now got North American owners, so their exposure they're getting here is a lot bigger than it was. But Ryan, you're obviously going on Sunday.
Yes, I will be. At the moment, not sure I'm going Wednesday. Work.
Yeah, you were saying, but what's your thoughts and prediction for Wednesday?
Thoughts? I'm absolutely terrified.
For Sunday,
I'm terrified. We're going to put in the same. Like, how often do we go? Players will bounce back. Well, sure. Against this Newcastle side who are on the up like this, and one of my work colleagues is a Newcastle United fan, and he's going Sunday. And he's saying even without Isak and without Sir Maximan, someone's put in the comments that there's also no Joel Linton, KPB.
Yeah.
They only know one way, and that will be to attack. Now, whether that will suit us, it should do if they open up the game and turn it into a basketball match. I think at the end of the day, if you're giving Kane and Son the space and you give them as many chances as you want, you will get punished. But I just see this being a really, really tight affair. And I don't see it being as open as many people will think. I see this being a one goal game, and it could go either way. And I'm terrified, especially lately with our set piece issues. That Newcastle might nick it via set piece. And apart from last year where we thumped them, and take Wembley out of it, they've done really well at our grade. It's one of those ones that, with Wolves as well, where we seem to do them at their place and they do it at our place. So I'm worried that trend might continue.
You saying set pieces has just sent a horrible thing down my spine about
Kieran
an 89th minute. Kieran Trippier. I'm not going to finish that. But Ryan, listen, big up, brother. I will be seeing you very, very soon. I'll speak to you over the weekend. Love you, brother, and we will speak very, very soon.
Good to see you, Ryan, man. Take care of yourself, brother.
For the guys, and as always, and I'm going to steal your line. And as always, Enoch out.
There you go.
Care,
I won't
Ryan.
copyright you, mate. You can use it. You have my blessing. You have
Thank
my
you very
blessing,
much.
brother.
Have a good night.
See you later, bro.
See
you later. Okay. Gotta love that man. Got to love that man. As passionate as they come. And now all the way from the career, the one that I used to think looks like Bobby K, but actually looks nothing like Bobby K. And it's better because I can see he's got a screensaver, so I can see it's clearly not him. It's not you. It's Gabby, Earth of Spurs. Gabby, how are you, brother?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
How you doing? Oh my God, Man United. I guess we could start with the. Sorry, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're great. We're great, buddy. But hey, it's your 15 minutes, man. You want to go? Get into it. Go, brother. Go. You look like you were already at fifth year as soon as you jumped in. So hit it, bro.
I was just thinking like, oh yeah, how you guys doing? But then like straight away, Man United came into my mind, and I just like went on. In my mind, I already like had a whole argument in that 1 second. Like, you know, living in Korea, I have to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch that and then go to work, and it's just really depressing for the whole day I mean, it is for everyone as well. It might even be worse in the UK since you actually have to go to the match. You know, that is horrible. And yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. Like the the effort was insanely low, and the only excuse I could
Sorry, you're
give,
being generous by saying it was low, but go on.
yeah, you're right. I am. I am, and I don't want to, I don't want to be too negative and too abusive. Um, but the only excuse I can think of is that we just don't have the squad to rotate people like Højbjerg, Harry Kane, Son Heung-min, and we have injuries to people that we could have rotated them with Kulusevski and I'm pretty sure Harry Kane has said this before, that it's not just physically draining having all of these games like this, but also mentally draining. Like I can really imagine being a footballer and playing week in, week out, where like it is more demanding now. Like you can't go get drunk the night before a game like players used to do.
What they used to, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I can imagine playing that many games and having to like focus on tactics and what we need to do, and it just really be mentally draining. Like imagine working overtime over and over and over again. But I don't want to stick up for them too much.
Well, at the end of the day, Gabby, I'm sorry, I've got to say that that's every sport. That's just the evolution of sport in general. You look at every single sport, players have had to evolve. Their training has become more intense. Their diets have become more strict. Their nutritionists and all this stuff. They have all these different things. They've got everything from mental health to physical health in every single aspect now. So, but that's just because the sport has evolved. So when you see every team is doing it, yet you have to unfortunately follow the pack in that one. So, does that not impact it a little bit that way then too?
I think that's the only, yeah, as I said, it might be the only excuse I could give them, but it's still no excuse. Like they still can't be playing that bad. I think Brian said like pick any 11 players out of the fans, and they could have been a lot more passionate. So yeah, it was just sad to see.
They would
Brian
have been. I guarantee you, they would have been more passionate because I would have been there
Yeah,
screaming
sure.
at them.
So
For
did
sure.
you want to, Gabby? You know what I want to ask about this Spurs because I heard the boys saying it on We Are Tottenham TV. I've heard. Who did you hold most culpable? I don't mean player wise. Do you reckon it was the defence that was shambolic, or they were let down by a midfield three that were just not at the races, weren't on the same page? Because the Everton game, I think the back three had their best game as a unit against Everton. I thought they were superb, each one. But so was the midfield, and obviously when Basuma came on. But for me, our midfield, like when we lost to the Filth against Nuno, when it was just Højbjerg
Yeah.
and Tanguy and Dele just went missing. I put a lot of the blame, and I'm a culprit because I said I wanted to see the three in midfield. I very much blame the midfield for that performance. What about yourself?
So in my match preview, I said I would like to see a 3-5-2 only because then we can bring somebody like Lucas on or anyone on to be a bit more attacking. Because we need to make subs, we need to have an impact. I don't remember what the score was at halftime, but I thought it would be tight in the first half and it would be like 0-0. That might have been the actual score, but um, I don't think I can just blame one player because it wouldn't be fair to that player. Only because I think all of them deserve to be put under the bus, and only Hugo was the one who did anything. It could have easily been 5-0. Should have been 5-0 really. Everyone else was seriously bad. As you said, Romero, I don't know what's going on with him. Like we used to worship his footballing ability, rightfully so, but I don't know what's happening now. It's just bizarre. And I keep saying this every week, like, yeah, we're third, but if we keep playing like this, it's not gonna go anywhere. And when we play the big teams, they're gonna roll us over and spank us.
Do you know what? I'm so happy you said that because I've had a starred comment. I've got a super chat I'm going to bring up shortly. I had a starred comment that I completely just forgot to bring up, and it's someone that's always on the channels, and I speak with. And there's always a nice guy to speak to. It's Noah, and Noah said,
Big up, no.
"Brian, mate, question for the panel: why has Spurs not beaten a top six team like last season? What happened to our knack of beating these teams?" What do you reckon? Where would you start with this, Gabby? Because obviously last season, Arsenal we beat. God, I can't remember if we beat anyone else. Did we beat anyone? Jesus Christ!
We beat City twice.
Wait, Jesus Christ. Okay, so City
Come on
twice.
now.
Liverpool we didn't beat, but
Come
we
on.
didn't
We didn't
lose.
beat Chelsea. We didn't beat Chelsea.
Chelsea
we drew
nothing.
Liverpool, right? So
Yeah. So they were
we beat
better.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, Emirates and Old Trafford are not our best records. We often lose, no matter how we're playing in the league, no matter what our form is. But it's just the way that we play. You know, like what happened at Old Trafford just now, that's inexcusable. And it reminds me of when we beat United 6-1. It reminds me of how United were playing, just like completely helpless. We were them, we were that team. So it was just so bad. Yes, we have injuries. Yes, the players are probably starting to get mentally drained. Like they're just like on autopilot, like running around the pitch. Like they don't actually know what they're doing. Yeah, like there's just so many things that it could be the reason. If it was at home, I don't know if it would be as bad, but definitely we could have probably still lost. But yeah, like I really, what do you think it is? Like, if it's one thing, what would it be?
For me, again, it's the mentality. Yes, all right, we're doing it last season, but we're kind of on a crest of a wave, and it was all pulled together, and it all kind of snowballed, and the filth were letting people. It was kind of that tip. Do you remember when Leicester won the league and just no one wanted to win the league because whenever Leicester dropped points, everyone else dropped points. It was just like no one wanted to try and challenge Leicester for the league.
Yeah.
It's just come this. And do you know the worst thing about it, and what I find the most annoying is there's been this stat that's come out that when the top six teams have met, the away team hasn't picked up a win just yet. They haven't picked up a victory. But the thing that's pissing me off about it is when you look at those games, whereas everyone's going, oh, no one else has done it, so don't blame Tottenham for not doing it. But what I will tell you, every single other away team has given a good account of themselves and left everything on the pitch. And you can say, do you know what? Fair play. You played your best, which is all we can ask for. I've never seen such a night and day performance from Everton the second half with Basuma to what we saw at Old Trafford. What about you, Bobby?
I don't know what you're talking about, referring to, and what you saw
This
at Old
question.
Trafford because I didn't see shit.
Okay, you're being funny. Okay.
I just don't know what you're referring to there. But on this, it's what is going on? What is going on? Gabby's already asked it. Fuck me. Who knows? Voodoo, black cloud, dark magic. Somebody's put a curse on the team. There's fucking a Blair Witch bullshit rock pile somewhere in the parking lot out there. I don't know. Sweep the damn grounds or something. It's a conspiracy. Fuck. Who knows? How we've got arguably better players than what we finished the season with last year, and we're still in a good spot. In reality, when you look at the facts of the situation, we're in a good spot. We have the opportunity to still go in and finish up to the World Cup break in a decent spot and still be ready to go into January holding a good position and hopefully build on that. Right now, like I said, it goes back to just holding hope. So why we haven't beat them, Noah? My answer to you, my friend, is I simply do not fucking know. It baffles me.
That was a wonderful the way you did that at the end. That was like positive split. That was like one of those positive mental attitude speeches. Noah, Gabby, your thoughts on Newcastle and what we
right.
your overall thoughts on Newcastle,
Okay.
their danger men, just whatever you want to do about Newcastle.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. So firstly, Newcastle. Yes, their away record at Spurs is one of their best away records. They've beaten us like 10 times in the Premier League. But their recent away record, I would say, is not very good. Their last 5 games, they've only beaten Tranmere and who was the other one? Fulham. And funnily enough, we've won all of our last home games in all competitions, like the last 5, all wins. And do you know, so far, after we've had a bad game, we have actually bounced back and had a decent game. So that actually gives me confidence that we'll play a little bit. Like, it can't get any worse than United. So it gives me a little bit of confidence that we'll play better against Newcastle. Also, Saint Maximin, he's injured. Joelinton, who's, as you said, has been playing well, he's not likely to play. And Isaac, he's also not likely to play. The danger man would be Almiron, because before his last 5 goals were like 64 games, I think, that he took to get 5 goals, and now he's in 11 games he's scored 5. And Bruno, what a player he is! I'm sure we don't need to talk much about him because we know how good he is. I think he's their first like statement with their new owners, probably alongside Isaac, who, you know, Arsenal wanted for so long, and I'm really glad they didn't get him. So yeah, it's gonna be tight. Because it's at home, actually, and because we played so bad, we can't get any worse. We have to win. I think it's a 2-1 win. But you know, wouldn't be surprised if it's 1-1. I'm going for 2-1. Like, the crowd hopefully will spur us on, if you pardon the.
Hey, well done, well done. Now,
Well
Gabby,
done.
sorry, I want to ask with that scoreline. Is that 2-1? Is that you with your Tottenham fan hat on, or is that with you being a realist?
Kind of both. Kind of both. If it's like, I don't see us. Well, you know, it could be anything. It could be a 1-0 loss to a free kick by Newcastle. It could be anything. It could be like, remember with Mourinho, I think we had Mourinho as manager at that time. Like, Eric Dyer had that handball, and we were like about to win. That was against Newcastle as well. So like, it could be anything. But I think like everything points to we have to win, and we probably will. I'm sure Conte will make sure we will win, but yeah, it can't get any worse. That's for sure.
Right. So Gabby, first of all, thanks for coming on again. And before you go, I need you to big up your channel and the wonderful things you're doing. Everyone, check it out. So give your channel a plug and tell people where they can find you and what's coming up.
Okay. So my channel is Earth of Spurs. Trying to. I used to do vlogging in China. It was quite popular, but then COVID happened. Couldn't go back. Now I'm in Korea, and I on the old YouTube now, and Spurs fan channel. What I really need, apart from subscribers, is I need people from different parts of the world who would be willing to give me pre-match predictions, just literally 5-second video each week. So if you're interested, go ahead and DM me, Earth of Spurs. Any country welcome, every country welcome, all ages, all genders, whatever. So get in touch, Earth of Spurs, on Instagram or Twitter. And also, if you haven't already, subscribe to Free Spurs Boys and Tottenham on Tour.
Cheers, mate.
Gabby, you're incredible. Joe, this is like we always say on the show. And first of all, I want to big up the Irish Hotspurs in the building. So big up, David.
David.
Big up, David. But Gabby, this is why we did this show, so people from other parts of the world can obviously come on, and you become a regular on this. And it's wonderful to see. And everyone, go check out Gabby because he's got some great content coming his way. And Gabby, it is always a pleasure speaking to you, my man.
Go sub to my illegitimate twin, okay? Give him some support.
You can see the resemblance. You can see the pre and post shave.
Spitting image.
Exactly. Completely.
Just grow a white beard now, Gabby.
Oh, that'll take a while. Even to grow a black beard, it'll take a while.
Gabby, I'm sure we'll see you next week, buddy.
Take care of yourself.
Much love, guys. Much love.
See you later on, buddy.
Take care.
Everyone go check out Gabby because he
Give
is
Gabby
a
some love,
superstar.
man. Give Gabby
He is
some
a
love.
superstar in the making. So everyone go check him out. Everyone go check him out. So before we bring in KPV, we've now got 4 people in the back. And we've got KPV, we've got Miles, and KPV, your 100% record looked like it was going to come through, and you may have won the prize of when we get our memberships. But I have some bad news for you. The assassinator is here. The 100 records is going to have to go into the next week to see who wins it. But we've got 2 super chats. We're going to very quickly come on. So first one, Brandon G, saying it's not if Conte can succeed, it's if Levy will let him. And this is what I've been saying. This is the bang on the money. What do you say, Bobby? It's bang on the money, isn't it?
If Conte succeeds, if Levy will. Yeah, that's just boom right there. Mic drop. Perfect statement.
Exactly.
Unleash him. Let him do his thing. Support him.
That's
we
what
win.
we got hope for. Like
that's
I said,
all we can hope for. You know what I mean? That's what he's done everywhere else. Give him the tools he needs. He gets it done.
And as I said, the
Give him
winning
the fucking
formula,
tools he needs,
the
man.
winning formula that works time after time is Conte gets what he wants or gets what he needs. Trophies and accolades follow. It's a simple equation that has worked everywhere he goes. And this one from Frankly Tottenham, and I've seen this mentioned a lot. I can't see
I've
much
seen
difference.
this lately too.
This has been
I've
coming
seen
up a
this
lot.
lately too. Yeah, quite a bit.
This has been coming up a lot,
Quite
and
a
I
bit.
don't know.
Especially, sorry, go on.
With Conte, I think it's more at the moment the players he's got at his disposal. Whereas with Jose, it was just we're playing this way. We're playing this way. It doesn't matter who you've got. What you do, this is what we're doing. I think Conte's trying to adapt with what he's got, but it is starting. I can see why people are saying this. But again, Conte, no difference to Jose. Look, let's look at the trophies Jose won. Obviously not at us because he lost, he left before. But if he can bring as much success to playing Jose Ball that Jose has brought to playing Jose Ball, then we're going to be very, very lucky. Don't you agree, Bob?
You know what? We're going to have to be very fucking lucky.
And there we go. So,
we're going to have to be very, very fucking lucky, man. I'm sorry. I think you're shedding more positivity in that section than I just did.
I don't want to go on a rant. I know it's late or early in the morning for some people. I know it's late at night or early in the morning. So we're going to move on to someone who it's very, very early in the morning for. In fact, it is 3 o'clock in the morning for. Such as his patience, his dedication, his commitment to the show. If only Spurs showed that against Manchester United. Let's bring him on, people. He's a legend of We Are Tottenham TV, and he has his own catchphrase, and it goes with "It's me, it's me, it's KPV." What's up, KPV?
No, what's up, buddy?
Yes, Bobby K, big up, my man.
Big up, brother. How you doing, my man? How you doing?
What would you like to talk about, my brother?
Go, buddy. It's your 15. Square off. Boom.
Boom. The time.
Boom. Kyle's in the house and he's live.
And it's live. There's probably much I want to explain, but let's get right to it. Once again, this team has been shit. Like, we were confident going into this game. Like Wednesday we were. Some people were confident. I thought we were going into this game confident, but I guess we were wrong. Like, Lloris was the only player that had a brilliant game, 9 saves, and Ben Sim gave him a 9 in their player ratings. I give him a 10. 9 saves. But if it wasn't for him, we would have lost at least 5-3, like we have done before. But thank God it's only 2-0. Liverpool Arsenal can only score at Old Trafford and we can't. I don't know why we can't, but we've only won there 4 times, and I've said that to Jack. We've won there under different managers. Like, we've only won there 4, but this time, as Conte said, we didn't lose to Man United. We lost to Ronaldo, but we lost because of Ben Davies scoring an own goal. Like, he's the next Jamie Carragher and everyone else own goals. That's what he does.
There was a player at Leicester as well, Kyle, that always scored. Frank Sinclair. Frank Sinclair at Leicester always used to score own goals, and he scored some classic own goals. The ex-Chelsea player. But Kyle, as I was asking Gabby before, against Man U, what position were you finding more responsible? Was it bad defending, or was it woeful midfield play, and the midfielders didn't give the defence enough cover, and they were just invisible during this game? Where are you leaning towards that?
I'd probably lean towards the defence, I think, because like they just wouldn't defend properly, I think. Like, I don't understand why you'd bring on Sanchez, who I don't think is good enough. People don't like him. Like, I agree. I don't think he's great, but there's no cover for Romero. Like, as you've been saying on the channels, we ain't got a cover for Romero, who we should have looked at in the summer. But yeah, like defense is what I probably lean towards to. And like Højbjerg has been outstanding this season, been our player of the season so far, and then he goes and does this. Like he's been brilliant the last few games, but then he goes and does this. But he'll like I seen Spurs official Twitter page saying, "Oh, we go again, or we'll bounce back." Like, what is wrong with our club? Like, you don't play like 2-year-old babies like this in games like this. You want us to win, not playing bad, and I don't know what's going wrong. And I see Kulu's not going to be back until after the World Cup. Like, I miss the guy. He's been brilliant, and the 3-4-3 don't work without him. Everyone's been saying it. I've been saying it for the last 3 weeks, and we're nothing without him. I don't understand. Like, Richarlison's injured. We're supposed to, I don't know, looks like we have to stick to that formation until after the World Cup. What's wrong with us?
Okay, so wait 1 second before we carry this on. I believe my co-host.
No, it's okay. Well, when me and Kyle will go at the same time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
And then it's going to be.
yeah.
I will fly solo for the final 3 guests. So Cole, going into Newcastle, who do you see starting a right wing back?
Right wing back. Well, it looks like. Well, I think Perisic can play there, but he's normally a left wing back. Like, but I suppose Conte can play him there. He's done it with other players, as I've said before. Young, Moses, those are the players he's put there. But I suppose I'll probably see, like, I know that the Brazilian Cafu, known as Royale, is back. But I suppose some people won't be watching the game if he starts. Like, I don't want another red card, then that's going to be a 2-match suspension or 3. So I'd rather go with the Irish Cafu, Doherty.
Oh, the Irish Cafu. And against Newcastle, Cole, do you want to see us bring out the 3-5-2, or do you want to see a 3-4-3 with maybe Lucas Moura up front? Because also you got to remember, he's got the option of doing a 3-4-3 and putting Sessegnon at left wing back, Emerson or whoever at right back, and putting Perisic up top rather than Moura. So there's different variations that he can go with.
Yeah, true. Like, I'll probably say, I don't know, say 3-5-2 to start with, then go 3-4-3, maybe during half time, change it around. That's what I'd say. But yeah, as you just said, he's got the option to do it. Like, maybe put Perisic up top. I know he's done that before. So maybe put him up top for once.
I mean, the reason I say this as well, and I'm leaning more towards it, is Bob Spur, as in brother, but my Superman. He's been saying it for quite a while. I think he said it on your channel first, Bobby K, when he said, "Have people been finding Perisic underwhelming?" And I was finding it hard to say yes, because of the crosses he puts in and what he does. But the last few games, I've started to see what Bobby is saying.
Yep.
and I think him playing up top where he can just stay up top.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing it.
I'd rather see that than him as a wing back because he's just woeful as a defender. He's dreadful. Absolutely appalling him on defense. So just throw him up front then. If we at least we know he's got the ability to throw that quick cross in and he's got that one touch to get around, then fuck it, throw him up there. Let's see what can happen. Throw Sonny across on the right-hand side. We've seen Sonny play on the right and be successful playing on the right. I don't understand why we keep forcing Richie on that side when he's been shit on that side anyway. So throw Sonny on the right, throw Perisic up on the left. Let's see what happens then. Because 3-5-2 didn't work for us, or 5-3-2, whatever the fuck you want to look at it. So that didn't work for us. So if obviously Conte likes his 3-4-3 and we seem to work better playing his system the way he wants it played, then let's work with that and just unfortunately force Sonny to go out right. And I think he can do it, man, because he's Sonny, man. He cuts in. He's got that left foot to hook in with. He's got his right foot to cross in with. I'd much rather see that than anybody else get forced to play on the right.
Carl, I have to say, before I get your prediction and I let you go and let Bobby go to bed because he's got work in the morning, I think you've got a new job offer coming in. It's Lee Richards who has said that you're spot on and KPV for the next British Prime Minister. So I hope when you are PM, you're going to have to get these late nights sorted out, and you're going to have to sort the country out and get this country back up and running. But Kyle, what is your prediction for Sunday?
Oh, we want to happen last season. We played these lot. We beat them 5-1. We were 1-0 down from a free kick, and we came back to win 5-1. And the goal scorers that day, I believe Ben Davis equalised. Then Doherty scored 2. Then it was Son. Then Royale. And I believe Bergman came off the bench and scored, but he's not here. So let's go for those 3 defenders to score again. Dyer, I have to stick with Dyer to score because he's been scoring.
Big K will be happy to hear that, buddy.
Yeah, Dyer. And Moondog always puts the Dyer bet on. I know he's watching this.
They got Moondog.
It's an
I think he's got Højbjerg as well. I think he's flipped over to Højbjerg.
Yeah, Højbjerg to score. But Kane loves a goal against Newcastle. I know Son does as well, but I think he scored last season. Kane didn't. So Kane and Son, that partnership has been going for a long time. So I expect that to continue. So I'd say the same score as last season, 5-1.
5-1, yes.
And the good news is Joe Linton's injured because he always turns up against us when we played him. He's only scored once, and his first goal was against us at our new stadium. That was under Poch. Unfortunately, we lost 1-0. But the good news is he's not going to play because we all know what happened when we played him there. Bentancur, I believe, and Højbjerg had a little fight with Joe Linton. So watch out, Eddie Howe. Your team's getting destroyed again, mate. You've already lost.
Love it. Nice, Kyle.
All I will say before we let you go is obviously, I don't know if Cody's still in the building, but Cody, obviously, this game is very raw for him because it was the famous day where he said, if Emerson Royale scores a goal, I will get that shirt.
And he did.
And he did it. Man of his word. He did it.
Seen him wear it.
So I think what we might need to do is get Cody to put another stupid bet on Twitter. I've made my stupid bets and they've come through. I think I might badger Cody to put a stupid bet on a player scoring tomorrow and hope we do it. But Kyle, listen, I'll be seeing you very soon in London, brother. We will meet up this time.
Yeah. And as always, Levy, the power sign, Enoch, out.
Love you, brother. Love you, Carl.
Good to see you, buddy.
Big up, Carl.
Yeah,
see you later on, buddy. Good night, mate. Good night or good morning, whatever one you want to say. So yeah, everyone give KPV a lot of love. And Bobby, I believe you need to leave me and turn him now, don't you?
I do, unfortunately. I actually have a task to run before I even get to, unfortunately, something's come up. So I've got to run out quickly as well. But I just want to quickly do something for Reload and Jacob, who have had some issues with my lighting here. But it was a late night session here with Brian on a Friday night. So I just tried to keep it late night. And like you say, Big Jacob, just a little bit sexy for you, baby. So I will let you carry on, as I know you obviously can, sir. And thank you again for the opportunity for letting me co-host with you this evening. Everybody in the chat, I hope you had a good time tonight. Have a great Friday night and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And hope we're next time we're talking or we see each other, we're celebrating a win. So come on, you Spurs, get over to the 3 Spurs boys. Give us a like and a sub, just because it's fucking free. So really, you know what I mean? If you don't do it, it's just kind of being tight. So do it for the sake, do it for the children. It's all about the children. I'll play that card. Why not? You know what I mean? Let's work what we can. So love you all. Take care, Brian. Thanks again, buddy.
Brother, I'll
take care of yourself.
Tomorrow.
All right. Take care,
See
buddy.
you later on, brother.
Cheers,
bye.
Mate. Bye.
Big love to Bobby. Big love to Bobby. So yeah, so it's me flying solo. We've got 3 guests. We have got Mile High Hotspur coming on. Then we have Mr. 100%. Then we have Eugene coming on. So we're bringing him on. Leo, Mile High Hotspur. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Brian Dago? I'm glad to see that your 100% record is still going, baby.
Yep, it's still going. I've got 2 people that are the 100% regulars. You're making your second appearance, I believe, on the Late Late Show. Where would you like to start your time, brother?
Look, man, first I just want to say that that was an abysmal display of football on Wednesday. To say the least. We got outplayed from the front to the back. Hugo was outstanding on the day, of course. For some reason, it seems to be, a pattern where maybe the rest of the team was good, Hugo was shit. This time it happened to be the rest of the team was shit and Hugo was great. But other than that, we live to fight another day. We always knew Old Trafford was going to be a tough venue. It's a tough game. It's a tough game for anybody, not just for Spurs. But I'm glad we got that one out of the way. We'll see what happens when they come to the lane, when we turn them over. But that'll be a conversation for a different stream at a later time. I do, however, just want to talk about the game coming up.
Yeah, this is your time. Where would you like to go with talking about the Newcastle game?
Yeah, so I mean, Newcastle seems like a tough game, especially off the back of the tough game we just had. Newcastle looks like a team that's definitely they're going through the motions. They have a coach that definitely for sure is he's getting the best out of his players. They do not have, your big name brand players, but they do have, players that are up and coming. Who would have known that Miguel Almiron would be, putting in as much work as he's been putting in. So I do want to give a big shout out to him, because in a team where he could easily be replaced, he's holding his weight and making his coach have a headache, as a starting position. Eddie Howe has been definitely for sure. He's got that team on a good tune. I think they've tied maybe 6 games this season. I'm not sure on that, but I know they have a lot of drawn matches this season. If you just flip those over to victories, maybe 3 of them, they're swinging with us up on top of the table. So that does, just because numerically they're lower on the table, that doesn't mean that they couldn't easily be above us or where we're at. But I just did Parker's pitch earlier with Parker, and we had a guy named Steve on from I think Newcastle TV. And it was definitely a good show. And we were talking about how Newcastle is bro, they're not a pushover team. We're gonna. No, and they never have been. This is one of those banana peel games after a tough game that we might slip on. Our only thing that we have kind of going for us is, one, it's at the lane, where thank God this season we have kind of made it our fortress. Going into the later stages of last season, we have tried to make this our fortress. But I think for any team coming to the lane, they have to understand that our crowd is always going to be behind us. We will have the 12th man every home game, and that's an important part of going and playing Spurs at the lane. Dago, but I mean, honestly, bro, like, how do you feel about the game? Are you worried about playing Newcastle, knowing that they're not a pushover team?
Newcastle, they always concern me. These are one of the games, and I do have a soft spot for Newcastle that I always say, but
Yeah.
also these games are one of the games that terrify me, like Crystal Palace away. Doesn't matter where we
Yeah.
are in the league, Crystal Palace away is always a very, very, very hard place for a lot of teams to go to, let alone just us. What do I say on the things that you said? Almiron, who came with a big, big reputation and took a long time to get kick-started and put in the performance he did. He couldn't buy a goal. He has scored a couple of wonder goals this season. His work rate, his dedication, his output, his everything has been very impressive. Eddie Howe, I wanted Eddie Howe to be our manager over Nuno.
Yeah.
Nuno, because at least with Eddie Howe, he plays nice football. You saw it at Bournemouth. He plays open football. He likes to attack. And you got to remember what a wonderful, wonderful job he did at Bournemouth. Keeping a team like Bournemouth, it still blows my mind that their entire stadium is smaller than our South Stand. The whole stadium is smaller than that wall of noise, and he did everything. The only problem I saw with him coming in or going to Newcastle was obviously, especially with the money now, was how will he manage the big egos and the big people. But Newcastle have embraced him. Newcastle have been wonders, and what you've got to look at, like you were saying, they are challenging. Like if they win, I think they go 3 points or 2 points behind us. And one thing is for sure, if they are pushing top 6, which I would say is their objective, like their wildest dreams from going to relegations, to Newcastle will flex their muscles in January.
Yeah.
They will. If Eddie Howe says I want this, this, and this, and he won't go and say I want the big names that they haven't done again. He will find players like Bruno, like the people that they've brought in that can fit into their system and play a role. And Newcastle will flex their muscles.
Yeah.
And Newcastle are kind of like a bogey team for us. They really are. I mean,
That is
last
true.
year we beat them 5-1, but there's important moments and important times of seasons when we had Poch and we went on our first run when Kyle Walker scored the own goal against United for the first game, and we went on a 14-game unbeaten run, winning a lot of them but drawing a lot. Who's the team that beat it?
Yeah.
Newcastle in the last minute with Hugo Lloris fumble when Perez, and Perez has done it a couple of times. The Joel Linton, the 5-1s. Newcastle are not to be taken lightly, and they are buzzing. And you know what? One thing I can guarantee you, and people that have been to Newcastle or been to Tottenham when Newcastle play, their fans are incredible. They will not shut up, no matter how loud we sing. They do not stop. It's a worrying game for me.
Yeah.
It's a worrying. Who do you see as Go on, Leo. Where you go?
Dago, I really feel this has the implications of a 6-point game. Do you know what I mean? It almost feels like that. If we drop the 3 and they gain the 3, it could do definitely a lot for our egos and kind of man, I don't even want to think of the shit show following. If we do end up losing to them, or the momentum they can gain if they beat us. But I'm excited. I'm glad that we do have a couple of days off and we do play Sunday instead of Saturday. So I guess the day off or whatever. But I'm just and also too, I'm glad that I shouldn't really be saying I'm glad, but let's just face it. We look better against them knowing that God, what's the guy's name? Isak is out. Alex Saint-Maximin is out. Joe Ellington, I think, a doubt. So there are some things in our favor. Look, Dago, I want to believe that we're going to win. That's me being a Spurs fan. But also to the flip side of me being a Spurs fan is I know that this can easily fucking blow up in our face, man. You know what I mean? But I think we'll nudge a good 2-1 victory. That's what I predicted earlier on Parker's pitch. I'm going to stick with it. I think that Harry Kane will probably bag 2 goals. I'm interested to see what type of formation that Conte puts out there. I know we're kind of. It almost seems as if we're stuck with 3-5-2, but it might just be time to. And again, this is the Tottenham fan in me. It might just be time to give other names a shout. Younger players, hope to God we see Jet Spence sometime soon. This could be one of those games that maybe something like that happens. We might see Brian Hill come play some more if we do like the 3-4-3 that we're accustomed to. Will it work? I don't know, but we got to do something different, Brian.
Yep.
I think Conte needs to only he'll know what's within his grasp, what's within his reach of capability. And so this is a tough test for us. This is definitely a tough test for us. Come the end of this game, we're going to definitely see where we're at. The Kulu injury kind of just set back even further. So, we can't just be hoping that he comes back soon so that we can do that 4-3-3. Thank God Richarlison will be back sooner than later. So if we could just put our head down, grind out a tough game, that's the results that we need to move forward and not just title, not just challenge for a top 4, but maybe be knocking on that door. Come. We just need to get to November, the World Cup. This is a season of 2 halves. If we can make it there, Brian, and looking good, looking on form, then we should be, well, then we'll have to see after the World Cup what happens. But part of being a Spurs fan, I know you hate it, Daigle, but we have to be patient. You know what I mean? I know you hate it, but it's one day at a time, bro. You know what I mean? One game at a time.
There is pay. I've got to say, Phil, I'm sorry if I've missed a super chat. Whoever it was, just type a message in there, and if you could just type super chat in there in capital letters, so I know it stands out. Phil, I will bring it in. Just type in super chat in uppercase, and then your message, and I will bring it up. I just can't find it, buddy. I do apologise. Yeah, listen here. When it comes to saying being patient,
Yeah.
I'm 43 years old. I yes, of course, hopefully I've got 30, 40 years left inside me, and hopefully by then things will be better, things will be different. But there's patience and there's patience. There's being told things and not coming true. I get where you're coming from, and you know what? If it was a new board, let's just say we got taken over at the end of the season, they've got all the time in the world. I've got all the time in the world. It's Cody's trying to be clever with saying super chat. I'm not going to read that because he will click me. I'm not going to read it. I'm not even going to bring the comment out, Cody. Very good try. Well, thank you. Okay, thank you, Phil. So we'll discuss this one together. Super chat. Romero is being exposed by our average defenders. No way. So that was the super chat. What do you feel on that? And I have to say, good try, Cody. Good try. But yeah, what do you say to that when it comes to Romero being exposed?
I mean, he's not the only one being exposed by by the shite players that surround our good players. It's just in our back line. Of course, he's the one that seems to be the better of the 3. But even then, like when he plays for Argentina, he is much more of an attacking player than he is when he's with Spurs. And I think, that tries to translate over to club form. And we just don't have the personnel to be able to hang with him. He's having to pick up slack from, whether it fits Royale or whether it fits Doherty or whoever the case is. So that automatically makes him feel probably uncomfortable. He's a physical player. The way he tackles is just amazing. Yeah, he's definitely gets exposed by our average defenders. An excellent goalkeeper in Hugo Lloris gets exposed by our average defenders. You know what I mean? So it translates all up and down that pitch, Daigle. What about you? Do you think that Romero, is being exposed by our average defenders?
So I can see where this is coming from. I really, really can, and to somewhat I agree. But the problem we have, and what has been the problem, is we all knew come near the end of the window, and pretty much halfway through the window when things started happening, one of the fundamental areas we needed more strength, especially on the right hand side. Longley came in for the left, and there was Davis. That we needed more centre backs, because if Dyer goes out, it's Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah.
If Romero goes out, it's Davinson Sanchez. If both were out, it's what do we do? But what has not happened? What has not helped is Romero's at fault for this some himself, because he's so eager to get back. We heard when he was out, he said, "No, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready."
Yeah.
We have rushed him back, and then he went away with Argentina to play against Jamaica. Then he comes back, and when you've got a player like Romero, and you do not have the quality of him in reserve or alike to play alongside him, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. I mean, we saw against Fulham when Mitrovic scored that goal. It was such a weak tackle to try and get the ball of Mitrovic. Now, don't get me wrong, Mitrovic, A, is a very strong player. He's based his game around it. B, Romero was on a yellow card. But old Romero, fit Romero, don't give a shit. It's bang, clap, off you go. And normally 9 times out of 10 he gets the ball. There's just been games where he hasn't looked himself. He hasn't looked himself in the Champions League. He hasn't looked himself, and we're in the situation where, because of the lack of depth in that area, we're stuck. We're stuck. If we'd brought in, I'm not even talking like the Bastones, excuse me, or whoever. At least there was some decent cover. Cover. This may have been different, but Leo, what I want you to do, by my man, is quickly plug your channel. But before you plug your channel, I want your prediction, and after you've given your prediction, before you plug your channel, I want you. Give me your prediction. Then I'm going to bring a question up for you, and then you plug your channel.
Yeah. So like I alluded to earlier, I think we're gonna grind out a tough 2-1 victory. And like I said, that's simply based on the fact that Newcastle are missing some key pieces to their squad, as are we. But I think the 12th man will definitely come through. I definitely look forward to hearing you guys on the TV, loud and proud over there from the lane. So yeah, I think, like I said, I think Kane will bag 2 goals and get closer to Greaves' record. And we'll see what happens, Daigle.
Okay, so before you plug your channel, I need you to answer this question, which has come in from Juan Daniel Sandoval, which has said he's a big supporter of the channel. Where can I find that Mile High Hotspur jersey? One love.
Yeah. So look, guys, supply is limited. I know I have to ship one out to Daigle. I do have maybe like 2 left. So if you're like a extra large or a 2XL, you could reach out to my Hotspur on Instagram, on Twitter, and we could definitely make that happen. And if I can, bro, I'll sell you the one off my back, bro. Honestly, because I mean, that I want to get them out there as far as possible, so that people could see, the Colorado Spurs stuff that I got going. And that's really what it is let me just get this out the way. It's a Colorado Spurs. It's Colorado Spurs jersey that myself and my partner Parker we created, designed, I guess I should say. And this is the pub we get together at. And so the club, the Colorado Spurs, has its own membership. They give you the scarves, some magnets and stuff like that. But I wanted to go the extra mile. And I wanted to do something different. The logo is the Colorado Spurs logo. It's got the normal crocodile with the ball, but it's got the Colorado C. So yeah, if you're interested, Juan, let me know, man.
And there you go. And very quickly, Leo, plug the channel.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me at Mile High Hotspur right there, as you can see, Mile High Hotspur. And that's on YouTube. We're on Instagram, Twitter, the same handle all across all platforms. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank Brian Daigle, thank We Are Tottenham TV. You know, just get out and support all of the channels. You know, everybody that makes content, puts out content. We do it because it's fun, it's entertaining, and the community is dope. So anytime I get a chance to chat Tottenham Hotspur, it's definitely fun to do so. And so again, I'm very appreciative to the people that helped me get my foot through the door. United Spurs of America, and being a fan of the Irish Hotspur, being a fan of We Are Tottenham TV. Tottenham on Tour. All of you guys, man, all of you guys. So I'm glad I'm finally able to converse with you guys. And that's what it's about.
It's honestly a pleasure. When I get back to London in November and we start doing a lot more content on We Are Tottenham TV, Tottenham on Tour again, we're going to bring back Everywhere You Go, and we're coming to speak to Mile High Spurs and Colorado Spurs. So we're going to make a beeline for you first.
Yeah.
All
Whenever
right,
you're
Leo?
ready, brother. Whenever you're ready.
We'll get you out there. So everyone, big up Leo. Leo, have a wicked weekend, and hopefully we'll see you next week on the Late Late Show.
For sure, my man. We're gonna
All
make
right.
it a regular thing. I'm trying to be part of that 100 club.
There we go, brother. So we will speak to you soon, brother. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
I'll speak to you later, brother. Bye bye. Right. So we have the last guest, who's normally the first guest, but he's the last guest. He's the first 100%er with KPV. KPV, your competition has entered the building. Hassan, how are we doing, brother?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
All good, mate. All good. This feels so weird that you've come on last and you've come on late. It seems like you're in a different part of your house. I'm all discombobulated here with what's going on. But where do you want to talk about first, Hassan? Where do you want to go?
I think we got to brush over United just a bit.
Okay,
I know we don't want to rehash the wounds, but I think we just have to talk about the aftermath of that. We can go into performance. It was bad, no fight, but yada yada, whatever you want to call that for. But the reaction from our fans post that match on Twitter, I think, just epitomizes footballing fans in a whole. The amount of people who I saw wanting Conte out, the amount of people I saw saying Pochettino in. It's just, we can't be that reactionary to a game which we, to be honest, weren't expected to win. Sure, the performance wasn't good, and part of that is on to Conte, but he's working with, he's not working with the best tools that he's got. And I think we have to just relax a little bit and see how we go. I think the problem with what's happening with the club at the moment, right? There seems to be a blame. It's either fully Levy's fault or it's fully Conte's fault, and it's not both of them together. And if you know Saba Talk Spurs, I was watching one of his podcasts, and what he was saying was two truths can be correct at the same time. Does Conte deserve some blame? 100%. Does Levy and ENIC also deserve some of the blame? 1,000%. Right? So it's a combination of the two. And it's like this. Why buy a player like, I don't know, Basuma to play in a number 6 role when he's a number 8? Why buy Richarlison to play a right winger when he plays left wing or striker for Everton and Brazil? It's like we're buying players and then trying to mold them into what we need. And when you look at other teams, they buy players that go, okay, we need a right winger. Whoop, there's a right winger. You go. Oh, we need a central centre back. Whoop, there you go. But for us, we go, oh, there's a centre back. Let's make him this. Or there's a midfielder. Let's make him this. And I think that's impacting how we play. And I think Conte has to take some fault of that for not trying to maneuver around. But then again, so do ENIC. So I think we need to find a happy medium where we can blame both of them. But at the end of the day, we move on from United and we look forward to Newcastle, which is going to be a tough game. I think they have the best defense in the league in terms of goals conceded. So it's going to be interesting to see how Eddie Howe sets up Newcastle. Is he going to play attacking football? Is he going to sit deep? My gut feeling is he's going to do what he did last time, which was sit deep and try and have us break him down. And if that's the case, it's going to be a struggle, because I think Conte will be forced to play 3-5-2. And when you lose that other forward, it's going to be difficult to break him down.
So you know what I want to ask you about this? And just to let people know, I thought Mr. 100% was going to be the last guest. Someone's just come in the back end, and it's going to be a humdinger. It's going to be a humdinger. So stay tuned after this. There is one more guest. This is going to get spicy. But back to you, Hassan, and I love breaking things down. I love breaking things down with you.
Of course.
Newcastle. You're saying that obviously you think Eddie Howe may go defensive and try and catch us on the counter. How do you see Tottenham coming into this game? Obviously, we're at home. We need to see a reaction. We've got Emerson Royale back from suspension. Does he come in? Do we go 3-4-3? Do we go 3-5-2? How do you not? What do you want? How do you see?
How do you think?
Well,
I was listening to Conte's presser, and he said that he looks like 3-5-2 is what we can play with the players we have. But then again, he also said he prefers 3-4-3 before the United game, and then he switched to a 3-5-2. So I don't know what he's going to do, whether he puts Perisic, at right wing, or swap Sonny and Perisic and goes with a 3, whether he persists with the 2. My gut feeling is that he'll go with the 3-5-2, and I don't expect much change. I think Sessegnon will come in for Perisic. I think Doherty will keep his place only because I think Emerson will play in the UCL game. Unless he thinks Doherty is good enough to play there, then he might swap the 2. Either way, it's not a good result regardless. And then I think that's about it. I think that we will only see 2 changes: Longley in for Davies and Sessegnon in for Perisic. I think Doherty will take up the right-hand side. And I think we'll be forced to attack, and it's difficult because people wanted Emerson to not play. We got that. Has Doherty done enough to maintain that spot? Maybe, but then again, he's competing with Emerson, so didn't really have to do a lot different. Is Basuma playing in his best position? Personally, I don't believe so. So it's interesting because people I saw on Twitter were having a go at Basuma, and rightly so. I think he had an awful game. His first touch was horrendous. He looked scared, but his number that he wears is a number 8. He plays that box-to-box role, and we're placing him as a number 6, a role he's not familiar with, a role he has to learn, a role he has to restrain himself. And I think it's showing that he looks scared to push forward. He looks scared to try and create stuff or try and do anything risky. And I think if we go into this game with a 3-5-2, I think Conte has to swap Hojbjerg and Basuma. I know Hojbjerg has 3 goals and 2 assists or 1 assist, but I think he's better in that number 6 role than Basuma is. And we know Bentancur's okay going forward. But I think we'll set up with those 3, the front 2, Son and Kane, Doherty on the right, Sessegnon on the left, a back 3 of Longley, Dyer and Romero. And we'll have to try and break them down. Is it going to be easy? No, because neither Sessegnon and Doherty can take on a man. Neither can really put in a dangerous cross. But who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us.
You know what? Let's see what the audience people in the chat have to say as well. We mentioned the 3, and obviously we said for Newcastle, if it's a 3, it's Basuma, it's Bentancur, it's Hojbjerg. Not do you think? Would you want? And I'm a big fan of the guy I'm about to say. I'm not asking you who would you swap him for, and everyone just put a Y or N in the for your response. Would you like to see Oliver skip if it's a 3? I'm not saying for which player. Would you like to say, like, after seeing, like, listen, Bassuma's come
Mm.
on and had a good
Yeah.
couple of half games, like when he came on against Leicester, he came on
Yeah.
against Everton, but
Everton.
when he played
Yeah.
at West Ham, 90 minutes, poor.
Yeah.
Brighton,
Yeah.
okay. Manchester United, very poor. Is it time now to say, do you know what? Maybe if we go a 3, would you want to see Skip? Because I'm going to answer now. My answer is yes.
Yes. It's difficult for me personally. I wouldn't mind seeing it if he shifts in that role that Basuma's playing, and then either Bentancur and Højbjerg get a rest. I wouldn't mind that, because you got to remember that those two have been playing every single game.
Yep.
Right. So they need a rest eventually. So if he slips in to that Basuma role, and then Basuma moves up to one of those more attacking minded midfielder roles, I wouldn't mind that. Really wouldn't mind it. The problem is for Conte, I think, whilst he doesn't want to admit it, he has different trust levels for players, right? You got the always starters, your Hugo Lloris's, Son, Kane. You got those players that he trusts to come on and impact the game, your Sessegnon, Doherty. And then he has the youngsters who he thinks are really good, i.e. your Skips. And then he has players who he's like, if all comes to it, I'll have to use them, but I don't want to use them. And that's Brian Hill.
Yeah.
Right? I think Skip is in that he's a youngster, but he's played under Conte before, so he trusts him a little bit. And just a side note, I think Jed Spence has been elevated to that Oliver Skip bracket. I think before he was living in the Brian Hill area.
Yep.
But I think now Conte's mentioning him more. I think when he was speaking about right wing backs today, he said that he'll either choose Dr. Emerson or he's waiting for Skip to improve. So I think he started to realize, maybe Spence is our best right wing back. I just need him to get up to speed. So I don't know. We don't know what's behind. That's the problem with us as fans. We can speculate, we can say all these things, but we don't know behind the scenes if Skip is fit enough to play in that role, whether he's ready. For me, I'd like to see some fresh faces. Conte likes to trust experienced players. He likes to trust those, but sometimes chuck in the youngsters, put in a bit of energy in there. They're going to try to, one, keep their spot, take the spot of another person, and just show the fans a good time. Right? I'm sure if Spence came on, that's what he tried to do. I'm sure if Skip was on, he tried to do that. Whether they're successful or not, we don't know. But I think there comes a time where he just has to go, you know what, screw it, I'm going to just see what happens. And if it works well, hallelujah. If it doesn't, then we can all say Conte's right. So for me, I would love to see a rotation with Skip in for him to get some minutes, and also for those two to get some rest so we don't injure them. But yeah, I think that's would be a good option for me. I would take Skip.
You got to remember with this as well. I said that before his injury, he not heavily relied. He trusted Skip. He depended on Skip. Skip was an automatic. You're in. All right. There wasn't a Bentancur there to challenge, and it was Winks and all that. But he knows what Skip can give him.
Yeah,
he knows what Skip can give him. I would love to see him. I honestly, I think so much of this kid. I think Ollie Skip is a wonderful player. Still got a lot of developing to do, and I'd love to see. But who do you see as Newcastle's main danger point, and the place where they can hurt us?
Yeah, well, they're missing a few players in St. Maximin, Joe Linton, and Isak. So that's good news for us, especially with St. Maximum injured. Their counters will be a little less, if they do go that style, will be a little less expansive because they don't have that pace. But look, I think it'll be Bruno Guimaraes, whatever, however you pronounce his last name. It will be him.
He's been the top player outside the top six.
Yeah, good defensively. He's what we want Basuma to really be.
Hang on.
Right? I think he has a bit more creative flair than Basuma in the final third. I think he can dictate a bit more, but he's what we want from him. Strong defensively, can start attacks, can help us in the final third. Because he's been playing as a number 8, right? He's not been played as a number 6, so obviously it's to his strengths. That's what we should do with Basuma. But I think he'll be the main threat. And if our defenders fall asleep, which could be likely, they may get runners in behind and we may struggle. So he's the main talking point. But I think, fortunately for us, we've come into a period where Newcastle are in their own injury worries. Because if they had Sam Maximin, if they had Isak, Joe Linton, good God, it'd be a tough game. But I think we've got a bit lucky, but I think Bruno will definitely be a tough one to go up against.
And there we go, Hassan. So Hassan, always a pleasure. Listen, I'm going to WhatsApp you over the weekend because I want to pitch something to you regarding Tottenham on tour. So I will WhatsApp you over the weekend. But give us your prediction, brother. And
prediction. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go 2-1. I think they'll score first, and then after that, we'll finally decide to start playing. I don't think they'll be as defensively undisciplined as they were last time. So I think we'll have a struggle to break them down, especially with no Kulusevski and stuff like that. So I'm going to go 2 scrappy goals, maybe a Kane penalty and maybe a deflected goal, and 2-1 win. Don't care how the points come. Let's just get them in.
There we go. Hassan, always a pleasure, brother. Mister, 100%.
No
the record, the streak continues. You just haven't got a T-shirt with a stain, but you're on a streak. You're on a streak. Hassan, I will speak to you next week, but I'll WhatsApp you over the weekend, brother.
Will do. All right, thank you, guys.
Man. Have a good one. I'll speak to you soon.
You too.
Okay, so we're moving on to the last guest now, and I can believe, but I can't believe he's up because it's now 10-4 in the morning back home. He is part of Tottenham on tour. He has his own song, so I'm going to bring him on. This is going to, like I said, it will get spicy because I can see where we're going to go with this. And all I will say is, and everybody it's Danny Kiriakou. How are we doing, brother?
I'm all right, Brian. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Good show tonight.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I'm trying to work out. Have you gone to bed or you haven't slept or you?
No, I haven't gone to bed yet.
Okay.
You know me, Brian. I'm a night owl.
I do. So, where would you like to go with this, Danny? I'm gonna literally let you go off and then and see where we end up.
Levy, buy some fucking players, you prick. No, that's it. I'm done. Okay, see you later, Brian. All right, good night. That's it. No.
Where would you like to go, Danny, brother?
It's just I don't know. I think Man United. I think a lot of people know my thoughts on that game anyway. I think it's probably one of the worst. It was the worst performance we've ever seen Spurs play under Conte. I think.
Oh, without the Conte, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, under Conte for sure. Yeah, it's just frustrating because it just seems like he just didn't have any options from the bench, really, to be honest with you. And yeah, I'm not going to go into that just yet, Brian. But there's a lot of it's hard to see the optimism in the team at the moment because how I feel, right? So for the Newcastle game, I actually feel that this is going to be one of the first games we drop points. I'm not saying we're going to lose, but I'm saying I think it's going to be a very, very close game, a lot closer than people think. I actually said it could be. It's either going to be a 1-1 or it's going to be a 1-0. But if it's going to be a 1-0, I would have liked to think it's going to be Spurs just because we're at home. But like I said again, my only issue is that the way Conte seems to have set up his team this season and the way he kind of wants to play is he really wants to utilize the substitutes and not having Richarlison to kind of impact the game. Because whenever Richarlison's come on this season or someone from the bench, like whether that's Kulu, Richarlison, they've made a difference in all the games they've kind of come in on. And yeah, it's just like we don't have that kind of option at the moment or from the bench. So it makes it very difficult to kind of change it up. And I think that's going to be a massive, massive, massive problem for us until one of those players comes back. Well, to be honest, until both of them come back, because I think it's like we're heavily relying on them, especially Kulusevski. Because Richarlison for me has been average. He tries hard and all this kind of stuff. But look, do you know what? Honestly, Brian, I think he'll be all right, an okay player for Spurs. I don't think he's going to be like a fantastic player. I don't think he's ever going to reach like the heights that I think someone like Kulusevski can reach. And the problem is with Richarlison, it's not essentially the player, it's essentially where we're playing him. Because at the moment, he was brought in as this versatile player, maybe to be the backup to Harry Kane. When has he actually played as a striker? Like, honestly, when has he played as a striker? He hasn't, right? Kane's played pretty much practically every minute nearly. He's hardly come off, right?
Yep.
And it's frustrating because you know my thoughts, Brian and Richarlison, right? For me, I wouldn't have signed him. I know.
Yeah,
I
you
get why.
You wanted Rafinha. You wanted Rafinha, didn't you?
Well, look, we played him more as a right winger. We played Richarlison more as a right winger than we have done in any other position. So why not just bring in an actual right winger? It doesn't make sense, right? And then go and get an actual striker, like an Ivan Toney type player. Because I tell you what, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Oh.
He's a fucking player, man.
He's brilliant. He's done well. Do you know what, Danny? I want to talk about Mickey. So a guy called Mickey put these in the comments.
Yeah.
And people are going to know my Cody's put a question in, and I'm just reading it to make sure it's not. Okay, well, we can come on to that one after. I was just making sure I'm not going to be clipped or anything there. But Mickey's brought something up, and I spoke about it. I can't remember if it was with Asan or who it was I was speaking about. Now you know about a wonder kid that I always go on about. I'm going to ask you this after the World Cup because right now it's too soon. It's not going to happen before World Cup. He's not even playing Spence, so the chances of this, as it comes to the point now, and I'll name a player that people like Stuart and Lee will remember very easily. Aaron will remember when it came to one youth starter that was coming through. I remember now. We may have had one come through like Harry Kane, blah blah. But when I think about this, the first name I think of is Nick Barmby. And Nick Barmby came through as a youngster with the Teddy Sheringhams, the Gary Mabbotts, the Razor Ruddocks at 21 years old and set Tottenham alight that season. People know my feelings to Alfie Devine. Would you, as a Spurs fan, season ticket holder, like it if after the World Cup, this man started getting some minutes? I'm not saying start Premier League games, that's not what I'm saying, but on the bench and there to bring on that bit of like, that X factor, like you don't know what you're going to get. How are you feeling about seeing a bit more of Alfie after the World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, look, we all want to see youngsters kind of come on and impact the game. We know he's a talent and stuff like that. The good thing is he signed his contract extension now, which is good news for us as well. So they're obviously going to promise him in the coming seasons that he's going to get game time. Whether it'll be this season, I'm not so sure. I think you'll see him on the bench. It depends. It depends on injuries and things like that. Because if Conte's forced into it, then maybe he will. But if I'm honest, I don't think we'll see him come on in games where he's trying to look to change the game. If he's gonna come on, he's gonna come on in a game where you're comfortably ahead. You know the game's in the bag. It's like a 4-0 type thing where you're cruising. You've got 10 minutes left. He might chuck him on for 10 minutes or something like that. That's where you'll see him come on. Maybe in some lower league cup games. Like, by the way, is the Carabao Cup still on this season? Right?
Yeah, basically, like I said, as you know, I'm going with Ben and Simia when I arrive on November the 9th.
Forest. Yeah.
I'm going to Forest.
Someone was saying to me, Brian, that it wasn't on. I was like, what are you talking about?
No, it's on November the 9th. I'm literally arriving at 9:45 without any delays. Going out for breakfast with Ryan, then he's dropping me off at Ben's, and then we're off to Nottingham Forest. And I'll tell you one thing, I fully expect to see Alfie Devine start that game.
I don't think we will, Brian. I think
he starts.
Nottingham Forest is a Premier League opposition.
I still think he starts.
I don't think so. I think that's the game that Skip might start, not Alfie Devine. Conte is not a type of player to really trust the youth unless he really believes that they're gonna be a better option to play a player. Like, for example, Spence. We're talking about Spence. People have been talking about Spence. You can see that he's starting to warm a little bit to him, right? He's giving him a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there. And you've obviously heard Conte in the press conferences and Ali Gold reporting as well, saying that he is working on with him behind the scenes on his tactical, game, and Conte's really pleased with how he's doing and all this kind of stuff. I think like you hit the nail on the head, Brian Spence. I think we'll start seeing him after the World Cup, because I think where that month where we've got the World Cup in play, that's when I think he's really gonna get up to speed. Because let's face it, Jed Spence didn't have a preseason with us. He came really late in, and I think when you're coming in from the Championship, especially into a Conte system, it's not. It has to be well drilled, well organized. You've got to get the fitness levels right for the Premier League, which I think he has. But I think obviously tactically is where he's probably Conte wants to see more. And I think during that month, he's going to get to really work on some of those players to really try and get them up to speed. And I think after January, it'll be different, especially Conte saying that we need players. He's already kind of hinted that we need to buy in January already.
So yeah, you're talking about fitness, and obviously Conte has a fitness now. Like I said, I've said this before many times. Like I said, my parents, one of their best friend's sons, was on the medical team at Wigan when Alfie was there, and I was speaking to him, and he was telling me even at 15 that this guy's fitness levels were above the seniors. He was like, you know, when you see they all talk about James Milner, how he wins the beat tests every single season, his fitness. They say this about Alfie. They say his fitness and his stamina and his engine and his recovery, obviously for his age, he goes, they are literally outstanding. You've seen Alistair Gold go on saying, listen, they want him to play. He's outgrown the under-23s. He's not even out of teenage years. I think he's 18. He's 18. This kid is gonna be something. Like we said, look at Phil Foden. Look at Phil Foden. I'm not saying he's Phil Foden right now. That's not what I'm saying. But who would have thought of 15, 16 people like him who came through their academy? I want to see this guy, and I honestly think he will start against Nottingham Forest. It may be too early, maybe the bench, but I personally think he's going to start. But coming from the World Cup, do you see him being a bit more involved?
Yeah, I think again, Brian. I think someone like Divine will get minutes end of games. He's not even had any minutes, and we're talking about someone who's not really come into the Premier League at all. And we've went and bought someone like Jed Spence, who hasn't really even got 10 minutes on the pitch. So in terms of pecking order, right, and where they are on the pitch and who we've got in front of them, Alfie Divine right now is not above. Maybe not in terms of our eyes, but in terms of Conte's eyes, he's not above Hojbjerg, Bentancur, Skip, Basuma.
No, let me change that, Danny, actually, because I just thought as well. Sorry, brother. And in the chat, people now looking, would you like to see more of Maté Sarr? He may have a better chance of Forest. Sorry, he may have a better chance of starting Forest.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think he's probably ahead of Alfie Divine right now in the pecking order.
I completely forgot about it until just now. I think it's time we saw
something. Yeah, maybe he might start, but I don't know. Conte wants to win, man. Conte's not gonna. The problem with Conte is that he is stubborn and he wants to. He picks. Well, this is what we were speaking about the other day, and when we were doing the watch along with Sai, that the problem with Conte is that most of the season you've seen pretty much the same 11. Yep. Like you haven't really seen different, right? Even though he said he was going to change it up. Okay, Matt Doherty's come in, right? Maybe Longday gets changed. And then apart from that, who else? And then maybe one of the midfielders. That's it. Who else gets changed? No one else gets changed. No one, right? That's not really changing the team. When you look at Arsenal against PSV the other night, they changed quite a lot of their players and they still won the game against a decent Dutch team, right? So, and if that was Tottenham, it's like the way I see it is Conte don't trust a lot of those players, right? Enough. And that's why Harry Kane is still playing. That's why every game Harry Kane's playing, every game Son's playing. And do you know what I mean? Yep. So it's kind of like I don't feel Conte trusts some of those players to change it up as much as we would like it to be changed. And I think that's why I don't think we'll see a lot of Alfie Divine, Conte, Papa Maté Sarr. I think you'll see them maybe in minutes, maybe in like in the if we get to another team where we get a lower team in the Carabao Cup next round, if you get like a League 2 team or League 1 team, whatever it is, or FA Cup, I think maybe you might see him a bit there, but other than that, I can't see him using them too much, purely for the fact that he wants to win trophies, Brian, right?
Yep.
And he knows his best chance at winning trophies is in domestic competition, whether that's the FA Cup or whether that's the Carling Cup or League Cup, whatever you say. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if someone like Papa Matasar starts, and I really don't think Alfie Devine's going to start. No way, not yet.
So
maybe
we've
he
got,
comes on, but
we've got Aaron saying no to start. He was mucked for Metz last season. Another flop direct from the French league. And Ndebele and Kudu and G and Sarr to add to the list. Then you got Lee Richards saying, to be honest, Brian, I'd forgotten about him, Sarr. And so did I till just then.
Yeah.
He could be excellent. We just can't judge. Big up to the Spurs fan. Big up. This is the thing. We've got so many players that we just don't know.
yeah.
That we just don't know. But Danny, what are you hoping to see? Let's get to Newcastle now. Let's get to Newcastle. What you wanted to see? 3-4-3, 3-5-2?
I mean, are we gonna? If we're being honest, I think that he's got to go with a 3-5-2 again because we don't really have any other options.
Do you want to see Skip? As I asked you that question.
I want to see more Basuma. I want to see more. But look, the only way someone like Basuma gets used to a Conte system is by playing. He has to play, keep playing. That's the only way any player gets used to any system and gets more minutes. He needs more minutes. He doesn't look like he's fully fit. Last against Man United, he looked like Ndombele. Like he looked lazy, he looked lethargic, he looked like he didn't give a shit. I want to see Basuma again. As much as he had a shit game, but if we're gonna be honest, every fucking player had a shit game. I mean, they were diabolical. Honestly, all of them were. And yeah, for me, I want to see Basuma start. Purely because I think he just needs to keep going. I think he's got to try it, keep with this formation until he gets Richarlison or Kulusevski back. I mean, look, I know there's options where you can put Perisic on the left wing, but then you move Son to the right wing. Perisic is not good as a right winger. He's decent as a left winger. We know he's defensively shocking. I think Conte prefers Sessegnon actually defensively, to be honest with you. And I mean, if you look at the other options, Lucas Moura, again, he said he's not fully fit and he's not match fit. So we've got no wingers apart from Bryan Hill. Now I know he did say about Bryan Hill was looking better in training and he's looking a lot. He's progressing well and all this kind of stuff. So maybe he gives Bryan Hill a start. Who knows? If he feels that the 3-4-3 is better for him, then go for it. But I feel, again, we've got Bryan Hill, who's an old style kind of old classic left winger. He's a goes to the byline, crosses it in type winger. He's not. When he played for Valencia, he was on the left wing or in the center. He wasn't really playing on the right. He's not an inverted winger. And I know he's technically good and all this kind of stuff, but I mean, I don't really want to see him on the right wing, to be honest with you. I want to see him get in and cross a ball in. But that's where Son plays. So it's one of those things. We lack right wingers in this club, and we lack everything down the right side, to be honest with you. So yeah. Look,
but do you know what, Danny? Do you know what? We've had someone else join us. You okay to stay and host with me? It's we'll bring him in because it's getting late now. So we'll bring him on because I just saw him. We got a last minute. It's Dan THFC.
What's going on, Dan?
Dan, you good? Is he still there? Is he there? Dan. Okay, till he comes in, carry on, Danny.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he'll go. I think he'll go for 3-5-2. Yeah, I can't see it any other way, to be honest with you, in my opinion. Just because of the players we got, I honestly, I'd be shocked if he goes 3-4-3, and because realistically, what's he actually going to do? Unless he plays Perisic on the left wing, moves Son to the right, and put Sessegnon as left wing back, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I actually wouldn't mind seeing it. It's a bit different. Son on the right wing, he can play right wing. We know he can. He's 2-footed. Yeah, maybe why not? But I just think Conte is a stubborn bastard. So
let's have a bit of fun whilst we wait for Dan, because I still want to bring Cody's question up for you. So it's one of those would you rather. But Cody has asked, Would you rather fight one 12-foot tall Daniel Levy or 5 2-foot tall Brian Daigle berserkers?
Oh, I'd rather fight one 12-foot Daniel Levy.
Good shout. Good
Definitely,
shout.
definitely, all day
Good
long.
shout. Although I can't imagine 5 2-foot ones of me. I mean the berserker.
Oh, I
fight,
could. That's funny.
You could. You could.
I
You could just
could.
see loads of little mini
Oh,
me's from Austin
100%.
Powers.
100%.
I
think
I would love that.
Cody's got it spot on.
I would love to have some mini me
Actually,
berserkers.
do you know what?
Sent out to battle.
Should we? I want to hear what Cody's answer to that is as well. Cody,
Yeah,
what
that's-
would you do?
We'll see what
Right,
Cody's.
Dan.
But here you are, Dan, brother. I was just about to WhatsApp you. How are you, brother?
Doing good and doing good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. We were getting to
Yeah,
wrap
not
up,
bad.
and then you came on, so we're going to give you your time because we love you dearly. So, what do you want to talk about, my brother?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we could definitely touch on that topic of the famous that we love. We all love to talk about Daniel Levy. We could definitely touch on that topic. But I don't know, man. I'd like to ask you guys, what's your thoughts on the signings of? Do you guys believe that Bissouma and Perisic are starting to look like flops? Because that's what a lot of people are saying. I think that so far, you could make that argument. But what about you guys?
Go on, Danny.
Yeah, I think sometimes players they take a bit of time to adjust to a new league. What people so when I'm saying this, I'm more thinking towards Perisic, right? First of all, Perisic, we know he's a very fit athlete, he's a very fit player, but the Premier League is a different ball game to any other league. It's a different animal. I always call it a different animal because it's the most intense, high pressure, high octane league on the planet. Like every team can beat every team. It's just like that. And I think with Perisic, it kind of is a little bit of his age showing. In terms of his attacking sense, he's good, but he's not as good as he used to be. And you can see it when he gets into attacking position. Sorry, you think, go on, have a shot, and he just doesn't do the right thing. He loses his footing or he smashes it wide, and you're thinking he kind of feels like he's got the Tottenham curse, if you know what I mean. Like he's come to Tottenham, all of a sudden he's got shit. And in terms of Bissouma, I think Perisic. I think we all know he's better as a left winger, right? That's just his best position. In terms of his defensive abilities, they're pretty shocking, to be honest. I think Sessegnon's a better defender than him. He was getting ripped apart by Anthony the other night, and we were talking about it as well, Dan, when you came on the show. In terms of Bissouma, I think what I said about Bissouma, and I've said it a couple of weeks ago, is I just think Bissouma is the type of player that suits a team that plays progressive attacking, possession-based football. And I know people are not going to like what I'm going to say now, but I think right now Bissouma would fit perfectly in at Arsenal. He would make them tick. The way Arsenal are playing right now, because you just have to look at how Brighton played, right? Brighton played when they're under Potter, when he was there. They played attacking, free-flowing football, and they like to attack their teams. And we know they had their vulnerabilities in the up front, and they couldn't score goals and stuff. But when they did play well, they played very well. And I just think if you put him in like a Liverpool or a Man City or type of team like that, he would look phenomenal. I do think, though, because he's struggling, you can see he's struggling because there's obviously something not right. It doesn't look like he's fully fit. And also, it doesn't look like he's still not used to the Conte system, because what you can see is in the games, and in quite a few of the games, there's a lot of miscommunication going on. And I think you see that, and I think it's a big problem because it seems like they just don't know what to do when they're all three in the midfield together. That you've seen glimpses of how good it could be when Bissouma wins that ball back and progresses it up the pitch. That's what you want to see Bissouma doing. He did it at Everton, and that was probably his best performance I saw from him in that second half. And I think he can do that on a consistent basis, but I think he just needs to get up to that level.
Yep. I mean, Dan, what I will say, I'm not going to really. Bissouma, listen, he's a wonderful player. He's a wonderful player. I started saying, until Brighton, when he wasn't getting this first start, I started to think that this had become more of a Spence kind of club purchase with the treatment he was getting. He just wasn't getting minutes. He just wasn't coming on, and I started to think, whoa.
Mm.
Is this a club signing or is this a Conte signing? Now we
I
all
don't.
know.
Yeah.
Go on, Dan. Go on.
No, I don't even think it was a Conte signing, because I just think that Levy put a bid, right, and then obviously he's a fantastic player. I'm sure Levy went to Conte and was like, "Would you like Basuma?" And he's like, "Oh hell yeah, 25 mil,
Yeah.
that's a bargain." I don't think that he had him top priority for a midfielder, Basuma. I just, that's my personal opinion.
Mm.
But I mean, in terms of the signing, definitely, I don't think that you could criticize the signing. 25 mil. We all, like everybody in this panel, we all hate Daniel Levy, but we cannot criticize that bit of business. 25 mil for the player of a quality of Basuma is just a phenomenal bit of business. But he's been a little bit.
Oh, sorry, go on, Dan.
What you got to remember as well is when this Basuma deal came through, this was after Perisic, this was after Foster.
Yeah.
Then this came in before Richarlison, and we're like, whoa, here we go. This we're now starting to look good. This is like we're not used to this, and you have to say, and this is me saying it, like you said, 25 mil for Basuma. We struck while the iron was hot, and it's a steal.
Yeah.
It's a steal, and he will come good. It's just how long. Perisic, as I said, Bob Spur's been floating this question recently, and I'm amazed because we have 3 super chats to go through that we'll divulge together. We'll tackle together. Perisic, when Bob started saying, "Have you been underwhelmed?" I found it very, very hard to use that word because he was brought in to add ammunition and provide crosses into the box to get there. And if you look at it, he's got the most assists. He's got the most successful crosses in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He's doing his. That's what he was there to do. And sometimes his crosses are so good, the players are so used to not being in there because of the shit that's been coming in.
Yeah.
His defensive duties have been lacking. But the first game where I started to think, do you know what Bob said may have some weight, was against the Filth. He looked lost. And since that game, I've watched him closely. And yes, against Everton, he started off very, very brightly. And I thought, here we go. And yet against United, I'm starting to lean more towards that underworld. He's got such potential. Or not even such potential, he's world class.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just getting. What's your thoughts on it before we start going into these super chats?
Yeah, personally, I think that Conte has to be very careful with the games that he plays him in. Like Man United, Cesc definitely should have started that game because he's not a great defender. He wasn't even a defender to start off with. He's a left winger, was converted into a left wing back by Antonio Conte. So, to criticize him for his defending, I don't think that. I think that's more on Conte. That's the only thing I would blame on him. I think that Spurs fans saying Conte out. Disgraceful from them, but I think that Conte, that's one of the biggest mistakes that he's made at his time at Tottenham, and that was putting Perisic on Antony. I never understood that. Sessegnon should have been there, but we definitely have to be very, very careful. I completely understand what you're saying, Brian. He has the most accurate crossing in the Premier League. That's like a fantastic stat, and that's literally what he's been brought in to do. But something that I've been very disappointed with him is when he's through on goal. I don't know why. He's a right-footed. He always goes onto his left foot. And when he has an open shot with his right foot, he goes into his left foot. That leaves me confused. But other than that,
he is 2-footed, Dan. But I just don't think I've seen him as clinical as he used to be. Like even last season.
Yeah,
I love Lee Richards. He's such a great supporter. And like I said, every single time we do this nighttime show, always says nighttime. We are Tottenham TV, nighttime division, reporting for duty. And he's always been, honestly, when he doesn't come on the show and I don't see it, I kind of go, oh my God, is Lee okay and whatever. And then we were just having a chat and look at that. Thank you. Because he said 4 a.m. for people back home like you, Danny, still over 100 people watching this show. That shows the dedication that not just with the We Are Tottenham TV family, with Tottenham on tour, with the people that are on. And I said, great job from the Break of Dawn division of the We Are Tottenham TV army, to which he's obviously said, thanks, mate. Much appreciated. Don't forget, it's great channel, great content that keeps us up at this time. P.S. about AFTV haven't got a nighttime division, and he's bang on the money. They don't have a nighttime division. They don't cater for their fans across the world. But let's start divulging these super chats. And Dan, we'll go around the loop. We'll go Dan, Danny, and then myself. And I love this one from Adrian. Big up Adrian, who's all the way in Singapore. This show is for you, mate. When we do these late ones for the early birds back home and people that don't get to join We Are Tottenham TV. So Conte uses suffer a lot in his interviews. Do you reckon the players are not prepared to suffer, and hence the drop off in games, especially in the high intensity games? I think it's a wonderful super chat, a really meaty one.
That is probably the most bang on thing, bang on super chat I've seen in a while. It just goes down to the quality of the player again. I think, and do you know what? When you actually analyze it, he is right. Adrian is right. Conte does use the word suffer a lot. I mean, the other day he was talking about going to war and stuff, and you need to be able to go to war and all this kind of thing. And I can't remember the exact quote, but he obviously really wants them to fight, and it doesn't look like those players have got that ability or that kind of desire to really fight, even if you're playing like shit, to try and get something from the game. Because and that comes down to, like Adrian saying, in the high intensity games, when we're playing the big teams or the teams that we really struggle against, usually we've played our worst football. They just look so nervous, so not confident, and just they just look like schoolboys when they're playing against. They look scared every time they play. It's like they just don't want to make a mistake or something, but they end up making more mistakes than not because they don't play with the freedom, and they don't trust their own ability. I mean, look, even players like Eric Dyer and Ben Davies, they can play better than what they've been playing. We've seen they can, but we know their level's not as good as it should be, and it's not good enough to win a title or win a trophy. In my opinion, it's still not good enough to win a trophy, but. Yeah, I think it is. It just comes down to the quality of the players, doesn't it? It's kind of what this tweet is saying, really.
This tweet.
This super chat. Right, it's 4:15 in the morning.
You're joining us Twitter space, and they've gone into audio and video. Dan, well, I love you, Danny, brother. What's your Dan?
It's 4:20 in the morning, right?
I know exactly what it is, brother. Dan, what's your thoughts on this wonderful super chat from Adrian?
Yeah, it's 100% bang on the money. People blaming Conte, like, honestly, I think that Spurs fans, we've got the memory of a goldfish. We don't remember that the last 15 managers we've had have been the same. Manager out, and the same players have stayed in. Players like Eric Dyer, I know he's been playing well over the last few years. He's played better with Conte, but I think that's mainly on the fact that Conte has the ability to make.
Last year, Dan.
This year he's even been bang average, but Conte has the ability to make crap players less crap and great players, world-class players. That's just what Conte does. So that's like, I think that players like Eric Dyer, the fact that he's been able to stay at the club for this long, and then you want Conte out. Like, the fans' mentality in this football club is one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest reasons why we haven't won a trophy in such a long time. Conte, when he uses the word suffer, and Danny, I've also agreed with you when he says like going to war, and Conte he looks like when he has his press conferences, it looks like he's going ready to war. But Conte is almost going to war with Barbie dolls here, because they're just like the weak mentally and physically. And then people were questioning why they were doing laps in preseason. Well, obviously they're not there physically yet, so Conte's trying to get them there. I think that this is going to take a lot of time with Conte. I don't think Conte wants to build something for a long time. He said it millions and millions of times. I think that we have to have patience with him. Even if we're not playing attacking football and we don't dominate possession for most games, fans' priority should be to go out there, play our best, and win trophies. That should be the priority in this football club, to win trophies. And to do that, you need to have that suffer and that exactly what Conte is saying, ready to go to war mentality that he's been saying so many times and he's been trying to implement in this team. They just don't have that. As I said before, he's trying to go to war with Barbie dolls. It's really, really frustrating to watch this, because Conte's definitely there. Like, Conte's doing everything he can, and the players, their mentality is not there yet. But what I will say is, this season, I think that fans are getting a little bit overreactive. I can't lie. Every game that we've played, for example, Southampton, first game of the season, that we won, We lost last season, and there was multiple of those. The only 2 games we've lost this season were games that we lost last season. So this season, I think, is going to be a huge, huge improvement. We just got to give Conte time. I'm sure that we're going to be up there in the league. Maybe not a title race, but we will be having a good season. If we just need to give him trust, and we need to give him support as the fan base.
So I'm going to put mine. Then we'll do the next super chat. Do you know what these words suffer? I know what Conte's saying, and we know what he's trying to implement. We know what he's trying to say. For me, these are shots at Daniel Levy. Just like Poch was, we have this house, but we don't have furniture. Now he's going, we go to war. We use these words, and the soldiers aren't up for it. We suffer. These are words that basically, to me, are saying subliminally, these guys can't cut it. I've said it time and time again. Whereas other teams, like you mentioned, Eric Dyer, Dan, who's been here 8 years, and last season he was good. And he's had a couple of good seasons here and there. But over the 7 years, it's mainly not been good. Chelsea, the filth, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, players don't get 7 years. Maybe there's one that they do, but they don't get 7 years to say, right, here you go. And then when we do try and sell them, they're outpriced. And then what we do is when they can't get the job done, we give them a new contract. He's using these words. Now, honestly, if I was Antonio Conte, after the filth game, and especially after United, or even more so United, I would have been standing outside the dressing room door saying, don't even think that you're coming in here. Here's your wallets that's been taken out of your stuff. Manchester train station is over there. Get the train home. Get the train home in your kit. I don't care. You're going to learn one way or the other that this isn't acceptable. Because you've got to remember, and the reason I say that, and it is very drastic and very harsh, but in Italy, and they still do it to this day, if they have a very bad performance, they don't go home. They get taken to a boot training camp where they don't see their family for 2-3 days, and they train. They're saying this is unacceptable. You don't do this. And these words that he's using, these are words. You know, when we say maybe he's not bringing these players on the bench to send a message up to the board, whether he is or whether he isn't, I'm not saying he is, I'm not saying he isn't. But these words, it's just like Poch when we have the house, we don't have the furniture. It's just like Harry Redknapp when he wanted Zaha, wanted Zaha, he got Zaha, wanted Tevez and Cahill, but he got. These are all kind of things. And again, this is where players do need to take some accountability now, because they get paid professionally a fuckload of money, and this shit happens. But we'll move on to that. This was a great super chat, agent. The next one is from Powder. I think that says TC. My eyes, I need to sort them. And it's when we're talking about. Go on, Danny.
No, I was just gonna ask, because I've heard as well from Conte's press conferences. This is an interesting quote from the Man U one, the last one. I don't know what you guys think about this one, but I heard Conte say that the players gave their all.
I mean, yeah, I heard this.
Yeah,
I
heard
that.
Yeah.
That even strengthens my thing that's saying these words suffer for Levy, because if he honestly, not only if he believes that he's been levied, and if he thinks we believe it, then we're in a world of trouble. Because if that goes down to their all, then I would hate to see them when they're.
Do you know what I think? I think Conte's just biding his time. Conte's a fucking smart man. He ain't gonna sign that contract unless he gets guaranteed like reassurance, like on the dotted line. This is what you're gonna get if you sign on for an X amount of years. Conte said it himself. He literally said it again in his press conference the other day about wanting to be close to title challenges. We're not nowhere near it yet, and all this kind of stuff.
He laughed at a title challenge.
No, he did, but he's basically saying that we need a lot more windows. He said it so many times. We need more windows. Yep. But what he's really saying is we need quality as well. He's not saying we need more Emersons and more fucking Richarlisons who are in my opinion, Emerson's a shit player, but Richarlison for me is average. He's not a great player. He's not a fantastic player.
He's a fantastic backup.
Yeah, but he's not really, because he hasn't really done anything, Dan. He's not done anything in the positions we played him in. He was brought in apparently to be a versatile winger, yet he's not. He's a versatile winger / striker, but he hasn't played striker once, which is where his best position is.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So if you're gonna buy a £60 million player who's gonna play on the wing, buy an actual winger who can play on the wing, right?
Don't be silly, Dan. Stop speaking sense, Danny.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like for example, if you're gonna spend money on a striker, you go and get a proper striker. Right? There's so many out there that they could have gone for who could probably do a better job as a backup striker. I mean, look, I think he'd be all right as a striker, but
You know what our transfer activity is? Like you said, when we would do this, it's like saying, I'm bringing my new girlfriend round to dinner to meet your parents, and you say, oh, she's a vegetarian, and then you put a steak in front of her and say, okay, here's your dinner.
Yeah.
That's where it is. But we're going to get this super chat done, do Aaron's, and then Danny's yawning, and it's getting late here, and the nighttime division needs to sign off. So this comes back to when we were talking about Perisic, and it comes from Powder TCG. Ivan just isn't able to keep up with pacey young guys. Cess is young and is able to keep up at least. Bissouma needs system time. Dan, as in Dan THFC. Let Dan go first, Danny. Then you. So
right.
Dan THFC. Well, what's your thoughts, brother?
Yeah. I 100% agree with for the first part. But the thing is that there is games that Ivan Perisic, even though he can't keep up with the pacey wingers, he still can play. I'd say the same thing about other players where it depends the team that we're playing, that what will they play. For example, Longley. If we're going to have more of the ball, I'd play Longley. But if we're not, I'd play Davies. Like that's the way that I think it would work with Ivan Perisic. If we're going to play a team that has a very pacey winger and a very skillful winger, for example, if we were to play, say Maximin, I would not start Perisic. But I think that Sessegnon, the other thing that Perisic brings, he doesn't only bring that ability to cross the football, which is a very good attribute that he brings. And for the first time in years, we've actually seen a wingback that has the ability to cross a damn football. But he also brings, like, you actually see him, and it's almost like he's been instructed to come in as an assistant coach, because every time there's a water break, he's right next to Sessegnon giving him instructions. If he's on the bench, he's there giving him instructions. He's making him a better player. And we've seen that. I think Sessegnon has improved since Perisic has come in. And that is a huge part that Perisic plays in this team. But I 100% agree that he can't keep up with pacey wingers. I think he's not here to compete for a starting spot. I think he's here more to, he's going to play minutes. I think maybe potentially he could end his career here at Tottenham as well. But I think he also wants to give experience, and he wants to show his experience and make our wingbacks, our left wingbacks, even better with what he knows about the position and his experience in football. That's another thing that he brings to the team. I'd be really excited to see when Udogie comes in.
Yeah.
And his ability, which is undoubtedly there, fantastic left wing back, with Perisic helping him along the way. That will be fantastic. But then Bissouma needs system time. Yeah, I completely agree with that one. Conte has also said that same quote millions and millions of times. And Spurs fans overreact when they see that quote, but it's 100% spot on. He needs time to integrate with the system. It's going to take some time with Bissouma, but so far he's been a little bit disappointing. I can't even lie. He has been. But it's going to take some time, and I'm sure Bissouma will come good because he's a brilliant midfielder. And the other thing, the reason why I think he will come good is like sometimes when you pay loads and loads of money for a good player, like for example, Jack Grealish, when they overpaid, Man City overpaid for him, it's like the pressure adds on more. We've only paid 25, so that pressure of that huge fee isn't on there. I know for the average person, 25 million sounds like a lot, but in football terms, in the way that football works, the football transfer market, it's a very good deal. So we actually they haven't overpriced with him, overpaid for him. So I think personally, even if he doesn't come good, it will still be, even if him at his worst is better than Harry Winks at his best. So it's going to be a good player to have in the team. So I think there's no way that he can just be a transfer flop. But in the sense that he's been a little disappointed with the ability that we know that he has, 100% agree with that. And he will take time to develop into the system.
So Danny, just before you answer, I'm just going to say one thing, and you brought it up very quickly about Jack Grealish, and I don't think Man City have overpaid. First season, yes, he didn't do well. He started to come into his own now. he has started to come into his own, and he will grow into that. Jack Grealish, you got to remember, as Bob says all the time, when you buy a player, you pay what? He had £100 million release fee. They wanted him, they paid it. 100 million is nothing to Man City.
Yeah.
That's what they had to do. Over the coming years, he will get better and better and better. It's a huge amount. If we're only basing it on last season, it was a huge overestimate, a huge price. But I think he's going to be more than paid. But Danny, I interrupted as you were going to answer this super chat, so go.
Yeah, no, I agree with it, to be honest with you. I don't disagree with it. I think I kind of touched on a lot of the points. Pau Diar was saying, yeah, I don't disagree with it, to be honest with you. There's nothing I can disagree with. I think Perisic is there to be that kind of like utility type player. And I think when Udogie comes in, he'll become more of a utility type player. So like he'll use him in certain games, certain positions if he needs him. But he'll be there. He'd be like a kind of squad player type thing. Because as soon as Udogie comes in, I think his wing backs are set for Conte in terms of Udogie and Cess. Yeah, I think Cess is definitely improving, but he still lacks that confidence going forward. He's definitely better defensively than Perisic. He's actually pretty decent defensively. But he needs to keep improving. And people keep forgetting he is young. I know a lot of people have just fed up with him now, but this is really his first kind of proper season. He had last season was kind of like it, but I think this season is the one where he's really got to show Conte that he can be part of the Spurs' future. Because I've got a feeling that if not, then I don't know, maybe they cut the ties. But the thing is, I've said it so many times with Cess. Why is it that all these managers keep saying that this guy's got so much potential, but he's been hampered with injuries and he's just been unlucky? His manager changes all the time. So how can you nail down a spot in the squad when he's had more managers and he's been there, like in the amount of years he's been there? Do you know what I mean? It's and that's down to the fucking poor decisions that Daniel Levy and the board make. So he needs to have a manager who really has faith in him, which Conte does because he obviously likes him. He said it many times, and with someone like Conte training him in that position, I think it's the best person to have training him. And obviously, you've got Perisic to coach him through it. So I think there's time for him as long as he can stay clear of injuries. It's just do you know what? It's a matter of whether he comes over this confidence of giving 100% into anything he does, because I still think that when he's going forward, you can see he's slowly starting to get a bit better, but it's still not there yet, because there's times where he goes forward and then just stops and then goes back, and you're like, come on, man, you've got the pace, go past him, like go past him and fucking cross the ball in. But it kind of feels like if he puts in that 100%, he's gonna pull a hamstring or he's gonna fuck his leg up again, his muscular injury, and then he's gonna be out for a month and it's going to stop his progress. But we have to wait and see whether maturity with age comes, where he starts trusting his body more and he can actually get a bit more confident and play with a bit more freedom. But yeah, look, it is what it is with this. I think Basuma again needs time. He does need time. It's a matter of time with him, I think. Because look at Partey, right? When he came in his first year, he was injured all the time. He was considered a flop, £50 million flop. But now he's one of the better midfielders in the league right now, and it's hard to say, but it's true. He is. We know he has his injury issues, but he looks like a very good signing for them, very good player. For me, he bossed the midfield when we played him. People kept telling me, "Oh no, he didn't." I said, what? Because he didn't play progressive passes forward? No, it's what he did. What he did, close down space. The way he used his power and around to get around the pitch. He made us look shit. You know
what I got to say. I'm gonna be quick with this because we're gonna wrap it up after the super chat, because I can see Danny falling right now, and it's been a 3-hour 37-minute stream. So what I've got to say with this is, first of all, I'm a fan of Cess. I've always gone on the record of saying that. Perisic, what we got to remember, he is fast, but where his speed is now is short bursts, not long mammoth sprints up and down. He can get away from people.
I disagree.
So, mate, he can be very, very quick off in a short dash. But where I think and where Danny comes into it with Cess, because of these injuries, you got to remember it's his hamstring. And like Michael Owen, who I always use, once his hamstring went, that doubt keeps creeping into you. If I stretch, I'm going to go far. And the one thing that I find annoying with Sessegnon, his defensive play is superb. He's done it to Salah twice. He's done it in the big occasions. He's done it. The one problem he has is when he starts trusting himself or running down the wing, he hasn't got that faith to take a man on and stretch his legs and whip it in. He checks in and does it. And what's the one thing Perisic does? He will run to that byline, even at his age, and put his body and get it in. And I think, like you said, Dan, when you've got him on the touchline shouting orders at him, if we can get him to unlock that key and say, do you know what, I trust my body, I'm going to kick the ball further, I'm going to trust my pace, I'm going to trust my legs, I'm going to trust my hamstring and go round the outside. If he can get the confidence doing it 3-4 times in a game and his hamstring doesn't go, we're going to unlock a different Sessegnon. And with Bissouma, again, we're going to open the debate, and we're going to do the last super chat, which isn't even really a comment.
Before you do, Brian, before you do, there was another chat. There's another comment by the same guy who made a super chat just a minute ago.
Yep.
Who just read out, and let me just see if I can find it. He basically said, "Where is it?" It was a good point actually. Here it is. He said Dyer and Davis can stay, but they should not be the standard. Dyer and Davis can be great off the bench, to be fair. And this is a good point because I've been saying this for so long now, right? Spurs fans, why the fuck are people happy with Eric Dyer and Ben Davis? Because for me, right, I don't want to sound rude, but it's loser mentality. It just is, right? Because those players, right, this is what fucks me off. This is how contradictive Spurs fans are. They want this free-flowing attacking football, right? And they want to be entertained. Yet they're happy with Eric Dyer and Ben Davis, right? It makes no fucking sense, right? Because when we had prime Poch era, right, we had two really good ball-playing defenders who were very, very good defenders in Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen, right? Probably our best ever pairing, probably our best ever pairing partnership in the Premier League, right? And we played out from the back because we had players who could play out from the back on the ball. Lord of the Pings in Toby, right? And we had Jan, who was just phenomenal on the ball, but also a phenomenal leader and a top defender, right? And and that was the standard. Ben Davis and Eric Dyer were nearly out the squad. Dyer was going to get sold. Poch fell out with Dyer. He didn't want him in the squad anymore. He wanted him gone. And if Poch didn't get sacked and Mourinho came in, Poch stayed. Dyer would have gone. He would have gone. He would have left Spurs, right? And the reality is, those players have now become, who are on the bench in prime Poch years, have now become our starting 11. And yet Spurs fans expect, or they want, this free-flowing attacking football. I mean, come on, have a laugh, man. If you want that, then you should demand more, right? And you should want better quality players, right? Because I'll tell you one thing for a fact. Those players are never going to give you that. And what those players will give you is what they gave us against Man United when we're playing a top team, right? Away from home. They cowered away, and they're the ones that made the mistakes. Both of them players did. I'm not just saying the whole team played bad, but it's always the same players that make the same mistakes in the biggest games.
I have to say, and what we're going to do now, I'm going to read the last two super chats. Then Dan, you're going to promote your incredible channel and tell us what you got going on. Me or Daniel plug our channel, and then we are going to sign off because it is getting late. So big up brother Aaron, who said, stay positive, stay deluded, stay Spurs. We're winning 3-0. Come on, you Spurs. And again, Powder has just put this is the greatest super chat to leave the night on. Can't have A+ football with B- players.
Exactly.
I think, honestly, this guy, Powder, you have just won super chats.
His analysis has been spot on tonight.
And I have to say that again. I'm actually gonna. I will, and I always do quote people when I use them on when I go on channels. I am going to be using this. I am going to be using this powder tag because that is the perfect way to sum it up. But Dan, listen, brother, tell everyone about your incredible channel, what you got coming up, and where they can find you.
Before I plug my channel, I've just got to say B- is a bit generous. I'd be around the F range, but
okay, there you go.
I agree.
But Dan, where can people find you, brother?
No, you guys can find me at DanTHC on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm gonna be making some content for the Newcastle game. Hopefully, we win. And there's gonna be a big announcement that Brian, you know about. A few other people know about, but there's gonna be a big announcement coming to my channel soon. That's something that's very, very emotional to me. Something that I've been trying to get for a very long time, and it's finally happened. So that announcement's coming soon on my channel. But yeah, if you like what I have to say and you agree and you like what I have to say, make sure to go over to DanTHC and hit that subscribe button. I think we're at 630 right now. So if we can hit 1K before the end of the season, that would be fantastic.
And you know what? If there's a channel that deserves to hit 1K, it is this boy who I have had the pleasure of being on his channel and watching him for the last year and a half now, Dan.
I think it's been like 2 years now.
No, I mean you and me being on shows. It's probably, maybe it's been 2 years. Maybe
it's been 2 years because when we started, it was the Jose Mourinho.
Oh, geez. Okay, there we go. There we go. But yeah, this young man is going to be a superstar in whatever he does. He is. I wish I could be like he was. 15 years old.
It's funny, Brian, because we watched Dan grow as he was a young kid, and now he's getting older and older.
Big time. It's so bizarre. And then please God, one day I might see you in London. Who knows? I might see you in Toronto or Miami. But one day in London would be incredible. And obviously you've got myself and Danny, Tottenham on tour. Obviously, as I said, we've been going through shit as a channel. It's mainly been me, so I apologise for the content not coming out.
Well, no. Also, Brian, I stepped away as well because I'm trying to sort out a lot of my stuff in terms of moving country and stuff. So there's a lot of things going on.
There's been a lot, but I'm going to be back in London in literally 2 weeks Wednesday. I'm staying till the end of the season. Who knows? I may be standing outside a training ground near you sometime soon, or outside a training ground or outside a stadium. But we are going to be back in a big way when I'm back. Obviously, I'm going to be with Danny a lot more regular. I'm going to be on the same time zone as Danny, Ryan, and Ben. Ryan Ireland, who is extremely busy at the moment, getting him. But we are going to be back, and we are going to be back in a big way. And this time when we come back, we're back for the constant. This isn't we're back for 3-4 weeks where we're all firing, then we go away. This is we're going to come with you with a lot of brand new content, a lot of old content like Straight Out Conte, Ask Us Anything, Around the Clock Rule might come back. Who knows? But that's where you can find us. But like I said, everyone don't forget to subscribe to Dan and everyone else that came on that has a channel, and also obviously the wonderful mothership that provides this show for us. We Are Tottenham TV. So I am going to get ready to play out. Dan and Danny stay in the back end. We'll have a quick 5-minute whatever. But I'm going to try and do this right. I did the intro right without messing it up. I'm going to try and do the end without messing it up. But I will say, and I don't know if people have noticed, but I've added something to this now. So Danny and Dan, you're going to see a new part to this. So what I do now is I get the fingers ready, and I say, don't forget, Morton Brown have re-extended their contract for their soft toiletries. Christmas is coming up, so don't forget to get your toiletries for your stocking fillers. And as always, Levy out.